Welcome everybody to the Fox Invitational Copenhagen. We've got Team Down Under, Aussies and Kiwis, taking on Pub, the British team, is what we will call them. Starting here. By the way, this is going to be a bias cast. We are full on cheering for Team Down Under, my Aussie and Kiwi brethrens. So get all the shit talking ready to take on the British guys. But starting here on the south of the map, we have Soxy playing as the Chinese. We have Pocket Kiwi as the Magyars, and then we have Flightless Bird as flank Mayans. Facing them, we have Dave Hun, who is actually not British, he's Hungarian, but he's playing for Team Britain, playing as the British, playing as the Britons. We've got King Boo as the Frank Pocket, and then Darvoy as the Saracen flank. That's what we've got going on. As for the draft is really weird because the last two picks that you pick, you then give to the other team, which could be done a little bit better, but it's intended to make you use some less well-known civs, I would say. I'm not sure how much of an impact it will have because in the best of five, if you only play 3 or 4 games, you don't actually need to play the two, in quotation marks, crappy civs that they have given you. But here on Arabia, we have all pretty early picks for most of the teams. We see players getting their baguettes going, they're all pushing in their deers. We're probably going to be seeing 18, 19 pop-up times. I just use them on an opponent's home. Definitely a reasonable shout, but it does sort of depend on what civs they end up giving you. For instance, if they give you a strong man-at-arms civ, for instance, you could potentially use that on Chaos Pit, even if it wasn't necessarily what you were planning. But we see the mining camp coming up. No mining camp just yet for Mr. Dave. Berries for the pockets, as you would expect. Yeah, not a lot to go and talk about, to be honest, for Arabia. We're just going to sort of... Is this being played live? Yes, it is. I'm a little bit behind. I think they started a couple of minutes before I got into it. I was just fixing up some of the things on the OBS. And now we have a pause. Let me see. Do I have all the chat things on? We'll put market sell on, and we'll turn off the rest. Boring Arabia baguette nonsense. That's it exactly. That's what happens. Massive lag. Get screwed. You haven't lived with lag until you have to play as the Aussies on all sorts of shit servers all the time. Yeah, okay, we're seeing all the players going up. Soxy with the most fills. Also, not the last player to click up. That is Dave as the Britons. Going up on 20 pop with a mill? My man, do you know how to play Arabia? This will not do. This will not do. You're looking to die, my friends. And I am happy about that. Germany vs China had interesting unit comps on Arabia. Oh yeah, I was seeing things like they had Khmer flanks and all sorts of wacky nonsense going on. But, we're not going to be seeing that today. We've got pretty standard Arabia civs, to be honest. Saracens is probably like the least used civ, but it is also, and always, quite dangerous with the extra damage that you have versus walls. We see Darvoy is not actually gathering any food at the moment. Interesting enough. How much food does he have in the bank? Only 90 food. He might struggle a little bit when it comes to early feudal age and getting fast fletching. We'll see how that goes. Soxy, on the other hand, here's big chilling. He's almost finished his sheep though, so he'll be building a mill pretty quick after his ranges, I would guess. Buildings all going up. 18 pop from Mr. Kiwi in the pocket. It looks like he's going to skip Horse Collar, I would guess, considering the amount of resources that he has in the bank. Seems to be the play. Just go for all-out aggression. Try to take early map control. Flight's second range is a little bit delayed, it looks like. Not ideal. Definitely going to give Dave Hunt a little bit of a respite, but his barracks is late. You're doing 20 pop-up and your barracks is late? What's going on? Double range from Saracen, double range from Chinese, as you would expect. Losing the Scout War, but actually, it's not that far behind, if we're being honest. It is a little bit unfortunate, though. Kiwi has the Pocket losing his first Scout. You tend to want the Pocket to keep their Scouts alive, especially because, you're going to be making more Scouts. You want to use them and coordinate nicely. We're not seeing an instant barracks Sorry, Blacksmith. Only one range from Dave? What is going on? He's really missed the memo on how Arabia is played. He's got no wood. He's got a bajillion food in the bank. He's got a ton of gold as well. And only one range as Britons. Two ranges, Blacksmith at the correct time. This is how Arabia is supposed to be played. Mr. Darvoy knows what's up. Does Soxy know about that wood line? He does. I would be housewalling across that space, to be honest. That forest does go to the edge. A nice safety wall there. Secures the gold and the wood line quite nicely. Then he just needs to worry about the hill in front of his berries. It does look like both pockets are playing on the same side, down on this southern side. And then we're going to have the two flanks just sort of juking it out on the top side. Second range coming out for Mr. Dave. And we see the first 5 archers already heading forward. Blacksmith is on the way, so by the time Flight gets to Dave's base, he should have fletching on the way. And still no sign of a blacksmith. He's got the wood though. I would assume he's about to drop it in any second now. He has finished the food onto the TC. Yeah, there's the blacksmith. This blacksmith could quite easily be denied here. Over this side, we've got a big fight starting to come in. Scout numbers are pretty equal. Hill is here for Soxy, but he does not have fletching just yet. It's just about to come in. Darvoy does already have fletching. Just microing side to side, back and forth. Trying to find some pickoffs. Kiwi considering a dive down the hill. You know, I wouldn't have minded going down there, to be honest. You've got the hill fight. You know, you just force the fight, try to get some hits in. Ballsy move to play Chinese flank unless laming is forbidden. Laming is not forbidden. But if you're playing baguette style, you can't afford to lame most of the time. Because if you fail the lame, you're never going to get up on time. Right? You know, if you don't find... Oh, now there is a small hill here for Darvoy to sit on. But, oh, what are you doing, Boo? No one's really committing. We're just sort of juking back and forth right now. Over on this side, Flight is absolutely cooking Dave. Dave, what is going on, buddy? Got some more archers coming in, sorry. Oh, Flight, you should easily get a bill or two here. Oh, this is sick. Good job, Flight. You're doing good things, my man. And he's on the hill as well now, so if he just stops killing the vills and starts to shoot down the archers, he is just in a brilliant position right now. Disabling the wood line, disabling the gold here as well. Oh, unfortunately he does walk into the TC there and take a little bit of extra damage. Where are his extra archers right now? Not exactly in the best position. He can go regroup now. And Dave is just so far behind. He's going to have so little. Right, he's got barely enough wood to make any archers at the moment. Over on this side, they're continuing to just sort of juke forwards and backwards around these hills. We do have armor in already for Mr. Boo. Armor not quite in yet for Kiwi. Has to wait for that. I feel like at this point, the Aussies and the Kiwis, they just need to sit and wait for Mr. Kiwi to get bloodlines. He's on gold already. They haven't really taken an engagement, so he does have a lot of scouts. I guess there is a slight worry that they might try to kill the archery range. But I think you just sit, Kiwi, yep. Just, you wait 40 seconds, you wait for bloodlines, and then you should be able to just absolutely clean this fight with fully upgraded scouts, plus a decent number of archers. On this side, Flight is continuing to poke back and forth. His archer micro is a little bit worse than Dave's, it seems. Yeah, he's lost quite a few units there for free. Let's go back to normal KD, see how it is. Yeah, 13 to 7. But a lot of those deaths that Dave has had are villagers instead of army, which has some pros and cons. The obvious being that you have more units than your opponent does, but that means that his eco is going to be a little bit weaker. And we see that Flight's already got close to half the food that he needs to go up to the Castle Age. And we see now Soxy and Kiwi, they're pushing. The pub team recognize that they can't really take a favorable engagement unless they're on a hill, thanks to the extra HP that the Magyar scouts now have with bloodlines. The problem is that this is a big hill that they need to push up, which is going to be quite difficult to do. And we did just see that Boo was building a market at home, so he's thinking about buying his way up to Castle, it seems. Eco-wise, he doesn't have a ton of food. Kiwi is actually much closer to going Castle Age. And he has actually cut scout production at only 11 scouts, whereas King Boo is continuing to make scouts. I think this might be a mistake. I think Kiwi should continue to make scouts and just naturally click up at some point. because even with Bloodlines, it does look like they're going to just get overwhelmed at some point by pure numbers that Mr. Boo has. We do now see the heavy stone mining from Darvoy. He is on the way up to Castle Age. Soxy is... Honestly, he's not that far away from going up. But it is going to be a significant delay, unfortunately. Mark on the way now for flights. He's actually almost able to click up naturally, and Dave is just absolutely nowhere near going up. I'm not sure if this is the best idea to just sit on this hill. Because I feel like, especially with the incredibly low score that Orange has, that you should almost expect that they will be up to Castle Age a little bit faster, right? Especially as the Saracens, right? They're going to build a market and they're going to buy their way up. But all three of the Aussies are on the way up. Boo is going to click up as soon as he finishes Wheelbarrow. And Dave is still far, far away. So as long as Soxy is able to hold against the crossbow timing from the Saracen player, I think we're in a pretty good spot. Kiwi's not fully walled. I'm not a huge fan of that. And I would definitely like to see him continuing the scout production. You keep making scouts so that you can get like having Castle Age. Have a nice big group of scouts ready to go. Get +2 armor nice and quickly. And then you can pretty comfortably take fights against crossbows. Even with just like pulling away an injured one, I guess, to go scout the back of the map. I don't think you need to send this many scouts forward if you're purely scouting. Oh. Okay, yep, he sees both the armies are there. Doesn't have to worry about any shenanigans going on. Dave is trying to do a little bit of buying and selling. But he is just now clicking up. He's 1.5 minutes behind flight, it seems. But now the crossbow timing is marching forwards. This might be a bit rough for Soxy. I think he might need to build a defensive tower, to be honest. Just to make sure that he doesn't lose any of his buildings or lose access to his gold and his woodline here. I mean, he half killed a scout there. But these crossbows, especially as Saracens, right, they're just going to rip through these buildings. Going for an extra range now. He's also doing some walls around the back. I don't know why he built a lumber camp on his forward woodline. I think it would have made much more sense to go to the safe one at the back. And now the crossbows, they're through the range already. They're pushing in. Soxy is still sitting on the hill. He's just waiting for his upgrades right now. He's lost a couple of hills, but he hasn't lost the game just yet. We see the light cab and the +2 armor upgrades coming in right now for Kiwi. They're getting ready to take a fight. Just delete the 2 houses and go in a second. Seems to be what the play is going to be. On the other side, we do see Uni coming in. Oh, and Flight has just skipped his guy. He's going straight to the pocket, straight to Boo. This could be big. The question is, Soxy's definitely going to lose his second range. This is definitely going to put a dampener on his early Castle Age regression. He needs to delete these 2 houses and then consider taking a fight. But now the light cav tech is in. +2 armor is on the way as well for Boo. Both teams are sitting on hills. Oh, it's incredibly hard to tell, but in theory, this fight should be going our way, because Boo's not going to have any knights. He has to send his knights back home to defend from this crossbow raid. Dave Hunt should be trying to send his archers back that way to help defend as well at some point. But now, once Kiwi's got a number of knights here, they should be able to just start punching forwards. This is just a big group of crossbows. 34 crossbows? We're almost approaching the point where you can one-shot a knight. Okay, we see Flight going in. There's 4 knights against him. He does have ballistics. Where is Yellow's crossbows? Yellow's army is starting to head backwards. I'm not sure if Flight's going to be able to escape from this position, to be honest. He's on 3 ranges, going for a 4th range at home, just doubling down on army production. It looks like these crossbows are going to be killed. I'd probably just try to sit on a hill, to be honest. Just try to get up on a hill and try to deal as much damage as possible. Because he is going to lose all these crossbows, and then once they are dead, Yellow is going to have a decent army lead, remembering that they do have the Britain faster range team bonus. To speed up their army production. Yeah, all these crossbows are going down. They killed 1 knight. They killed a knight and a crossbow, and that's about it, really. Which is not a lot of return for that many units. We do see a very, very slight Vil lead for the Aussies, and a little bit of an army deficit. We do see Boo, though, already up to 3 TCs. Mr. Kiwi is only on the 2. He probably wants to expand to a 3rd TC out this way towards that wooden gold at some point. We see an engagement going here. I feel like Kiwi should just dive up the hill at this point, to be honest, instead of trying to juke back and forth. Just get up on the hill, patrol in, just take the engagement. Because Boo's army is nowhere near helping, right? You just need to clean up this army before Boo is involved. Get that army lead on this flank. Knowing that Flightless Bird has sacrificed himself a little bit to try to give you guys an advantage. Yeah, this is good. I think this is a good position. There is a big wave of knights coming in, but as long as Soxy keeps reinforcements coming in, and they can get up on this hill, there's only 2 ranges, by the way, for Mr. Darvoy. Yeah, if they can get up on this hill and potentially deny this TC, that would be potentially game-ending. We do see the 3rd range being dropped down for Mr. Darvoy. Soxy going for 2nd TC, 3 ranges himself. Sacrificed himself a little bit. He has a 7-0 Eco KD. I mean, yes, but he is also... He's actually ahead in Vills quite significantly. But his opponent has now got 2 TCs. And in theory, his crossbow army should be inferior to Britain's. Finally, an Aussie cast with Capture Age. Oh, yes. That is us. Because like you would expect that Britain's with faster production and the extra range should, have the advantage in these fights. And so losing 15 crossbows to poke and prod at the pocket a little bit, it's definitely a sacrifice, right? It may be a worthwhile sacrifice, but it is a sacrifice at the end of the day. In this position, though, this hill, it's a little bit too close to the TC for my liking, if I'm being honest. There's double palisade wall over there, so there's the potential to try to sneak around one side or the other. I definitely don't like being this close to the TC. The TC does have ballistics as well, as you would expect at this stage of the game. But Soxy just has such a huge crossbow lead at this point. 34-6. And he's also not really behind in Vills at all. Now they can just return the favor and kill his archery rangers instead. I like this position. I'm very much in favor. We do see the 2nd TC coming off a flight. Definitely a little bit delayed. But it's not too bad. Wouldn't it be better to just kill the 2 rangers? That's exactly what they're going for now. Yeah, picking up the units as they come out of the range as well. These knights are in range of the TC. Get some free damage in there potentially. You are ahead in bravery compared to the players. I mean, it's much easier to know what to do when you're only watching. You don't have to worry about all the micro and whatnot that's going on during the game. It doesn't look like any of the flanks are really in position to do a fast imp, so we're going to see a very standard passive gameplay. The issue that I see right here is that Boo is comfortably pumping 3 TCs. Kiwi is still only on the 2 TCs, but he has 3 stables going. So he has a slight army lead, but he's 20 Vills behind. Which is... it's a dicey proposition. But I like this decision now. Try to go pressure the pocket. Try to slow him down. Because Kiwi must recognize the fact that he's only on 2 TTs. You would assume that the other pocket is on 3 already. So you need to try to hurt him in some way to equalize. Oh, he's only just now getting a bowsaw as well. That's definitely a little bit of a pain point right there. We do see a 3rd TC as well for Soxy. Soxy is just a big boomer boy. He's got a bunch more crossbows at home. I think he should be patrolling those forwards, if I'm being honest. Just to try to group up with the rest of their armies. Oh, I would love it if Kiwi could send 1 or 2 knights or light cav or something around this backside. There's so many villagers down here just sitting, waiting to be attacked. We see yellow now, swinging over to this side. Oh, this could be big. Does Flightness recognize the fact that it's not green, sorry, that yellow is nowhere to be seen? He is going forwards. He's going to kill a couple of vills on this stone, at a minimum. And then he can potentially get down here and poke towards this wood line as well. Oh, this is going to be huge. This knight, I was hoping that that knight would see these crossbows. That doesn't seem to be the case. Oh, no. Darvoy is going to lose so many villagers right here. Oh, this is Titanic. All the villies are dying. All the villies. And Soxy does also have more army on the front side as well, and there's even knights diving underneath the TC as well to kill. Soxy is going to lose these crossbows at the back, unless Kiwi can dive back here and get in the way and try to help out. But the Vill lead now for Team Down Under is quite extreme. The issue is that it's a big boomed pocket versus having relatively boomed flanks instead. Like, we have the lead in flanks, they have the lead in the pocket position. And now Yellow's crossbows, they've walked all the way over here and then dealt absolutely no damage whatsoever, and now they're turning around to go back, it seems. Did Flight actually kill those? No, he didn't kill those villas. He's just walking straight towards the pocket, it seems. Oh, okay, and they do see now that the yellow crossbows are in the middle of the map. University and Monastery are going down. I mean, you're quite far away from going Imp Kiwi. I don't think that's a good idea. We do see both of the flanks on this side up to Imperial Age. Almost identical timings, but Flight has 15 more vills and 20 more army. Absolutely cracked player is Flight. Look at him go. Mines, such a cheat sieve. Yeah, and even just forcing Flight to run some villagers away from this wood line. Still a little bit of eco damage. He's going Uni Monastery himself. He's got the food to click up. He does not have the gold, though. And he doesn't have any stone to sell either. So if he wants to go up, he needs to halt production for a little while, it seems. Where is his extra gold? He's got that one. And... where's his other gold? Oh, out here. Ooh, that's unfortunate. He hasn't really taken any other golds. That is rough. Okay. Flight is, though, just going back home. Probably should just kill that outpost, to be honest, while you're there. I'm not sure why Soxy has 3-4 crossbows in the back of Flight's base, though. He's just here to help out, it seems. Oh, and we also see Soxy clicking up now. Darvoy nowhere near clicking up. He's lost so many villagers. 328 KD. He is absolutely dead. But we do see right now King Boo up to Imperial Age. Kiwi, honestly, he's not that far away, but he is 20 vills behind, though, which is the big issue. Even if he cuts production, which he seems to be doing, trying to save and click up. Is this where Kiwi adds more stables and play Big Castle Age? Honestly, I think it might have been a good play. If you know that both of your pockets are really far ahead, if you know both of your flanks are really ahead of their guys, you just spam knights to get in front of them and body block and let them be the massive DPS dealers. But we see now, look at the crossbow numbers. We've got 65 crossbows to 45 on this side. On the other side, 63 for Soxy and only 47 for Dave. And sorry, only 33 for Dave, and Dave is nowhere near going imp. Like, Soxy should just get ready to roll forwards, I think. He could even consider doing the Helm switcheroo. It looks like Boo is just diving for Kiwi's economy. I do like the fact that Kiwi is picking up some relics. I always appreciate a good pocket that does that. We see stone walls coming up right now. As soon as he saw Soxy hit Castle Age, he's like, oh shit. Oh boy, I'm dead. I am not in a good position. Let's get these walls up to try to stay alive. This Palisade Gate is not going to survive long at all. Only 18 knights on the field, though, versus 38 for Boo. So Boo does have an absolutely massive lead over Kiwi at this point, which is going to be quite difficult for him to deal with, if I'm being honest. I think Soxy needs to clean this army from Darvoy and then come back and try to save Kiwi as quickly as possible. Getting fletching. I mean, I don't hate it. It's definitely going to help out a little bit, but he's going to lose so many villagers, so much idle time. Idling all the farms just as you're up to Imperial Age is going to completely hamper and just cut off all of the eco that you require to keep up your knight army. He is running away right now. I'm not sure if that's the smartest idea. Soxy, I guess the fact that Soxy's coming, he wants to preserve his army until he gets Cavalier and +4 armor. All these crossbows from Darvoy just going to get absolutely shredded. There are knights just streaming into Flightless's eco right now, it seems. Yeah, they're just running all over the map, and the Darvoy is just doing the team thing, getting the walls up. 39 min add stables for Big Castle. I mean, ideally it would have been a bit earlier than 39 minutes, but I feel like the idea is not, you know, the worst idea. Extra TC coming up from Flight to secure his gold. I don't mind it at all. The real issue is just going to be the raiding potential that King Boo has. It is a big, fully boomed pocket. He's just going to be constantly streaming knights all over the field. We see Kiwi going for a little bit of a wall, but really it's not enough to save anyone. We do see Paladin coming in now. I think the Aussies need to just push hard. Push. Because once Paladin comes in, if Boo has, you know, 60 Paladin altogether, Arbs really just tickle them at that point. I think one of the flanks has to switch into Halbs if they want to stand any chance against Boo. Or they need to get in and kill his army as quickly as possible before he gets Paladin. But he's being sensible. He's just backing up. He recognizes, hey, I just need to wait for my upgrades. I need to wait for Paladin. Darvoy is trying to keep me safe with these fortified walls. We see forward siege workshops coming in for Soxy. He's like, well, I want to push, but I can't. There's all these bloody walls. P8's walls are a great reaction, 100%. He's doing the best thing he can. We do see Kiwi getting Paladin himself, but he's only got 29 cav versus 57, and he's 30 vills behind still, and he's not even queuing any vills at the moment. I feel like... Yeah, look at how much food Soxy has. He should just be slinging all of that food, I think, over to Kiwi so that he can keep making vills and keep making Paladin. Honestly, sling all the gold as well. You've got, you know, a massive number of arbs already. He is starting to make a militia. I assume that's a misclick and he's thinking about teching into helps. Yeah, he's dropping the barracks. He's getting forging and he's on armor already. But are we going to see a massive fight on this side? We do have two players with an absolutely ginormous number of arbs here. Look at how much army we have on one screen. But just the tankiness of the Paladin is absolutely cracked. And Kiwi doesn't really want to fight without Paladin, but he's almost forced to do so to stop his teammates from losing all of their arb numbers. Are these games on the last patch? No, we are playing on the current patch. Oh, I've got a message in Discord. Somebody pinging me. And we do have the pause. Darvoy is on the way up to the Imperial Age now. He's got a solid bill count. And Davon, though, really doesn't have very much at all going on for him. The problem is Soxy going to be able to kill Darvoy and get to this corner and deny the trade line fast enough before the big, massive Paladin army that King Boo has rolls through the rest of the team? Perfectly matched fill counts. Yeah, it's interesting the dynamic of where it is. Like, all three Oz players are pretty equal in bill counts, whereas Boo is dragging up the low numbers that Davon has. Poor pub. We're still just sitting here paused. We're not entirely sure why. Seems like we've got some ping issues. Kiwi is complaining he's got 800 ping. They might be considering a restore, it looks like. Okie dokie. We can deal with that. Imperial units are better for pub, but they don't have the numbers. Well, I don't know. 60 Paladin is... It's pretty strong. I think that they've got a reasonable chance at winning this fight. Okay, they are going to go for the restore, it seems. Well, I guess we can't take this seriously, seems like the players weren't microing, but... The fact that Flight's running away with his arbs right there means that I think Soxy is probably going to lose most of this army right here. No, they don't need to talk to an admin. They've just they've agreed amongst themselves to restore because of ping issues, it seems. Oh, we'll get out of the game and we'll take a look at the civs that have been used. Okay, game 1, Britons, Franks, and Saracens versus Mayans, Chinese, and Magyars. So yeah, I think if we can win this using one of the, in quotation marks, shit civs that pub has given us. Oh, let's turn off starting soon, because we're not starting soon. We've started. If we can win using Chinese, that's just an absolute banger position to be in. That gives us a massive advantage going into future games, knowing that we've already got a win using one of the weaker civs. I'm saying in quotation marks because in this draft, you pick 2 civs that you give to your opponent. There was an ad. What happened? There was some ping issues, so they are restoring the game. So yeah, the draft could be laid out a little bit easier, but the 2 grey civs are essentially, in quotation marks, shit civs that you don't want to play that you've given to your opponents, with the idea being that they mess up their draft in some way. So we can see that Pub chose Tatars and Chinese and then shifted them over to us, whereas we picked Sicilians and Vikings and gave them over to them. So it becomes a matter of balancing where do you use these civs over the course of a best of 5. Because if you play all 5 games, you have to use both the civs that your opponents have given you. And you just need to find a way to work them in on the 5 maps that are being played. Which, as we can see, are Arabia, Black Forest, Chaos Pit, Arena, and Nomad. We do have all 6 players in the lobby now. We expect them to be starting just a second. While we wait, though, I'm going to be a good lad. I'm going to update Wikipedia. And boy, they are Britons, Franks, and Saracens. This music is nostalgic. Yeah, it's just the AoE 1 DE soundtrack that is on Spotify. And then soon, once we get to the end of that soundtrack, we'll move on to the 2 volumes of Age of Empires 2, and then the Age of Empires 3 volume. If the stream goes on long enough to go all the way through. Sicilian on Chaos Pit? With castle drops. Potentially. Potentially. They do have good SO, help SO, so there's potential to play them as an arena pocket or a BF pocket. I mean, they're probably an okay Chaos Pit pocket, just playing them as a scout civ, where you have the longer lasting farms and less bonus damage from spearmen, which would be pretty useful, I think. Well, I do say have to play, but in theory, if you're confident in winning 3-0 or 3-1, you could just not use the 2 civs at all, and just only use civs that you've played. Or you could also potentially just throw away a map and say, you know, we don't care about winning Team Islands, right? So you use the 2 shit civs there, you plan to lose anyway, doesn't matter, and then you're in a nice happy position after that. So there are some different ways that you could potentially approach using the civs in the Civ draft, which is, I think, an interesting thing that the Fox team has going here. Flex by not picking and go for 3-0. Yeah, exactly. The game has not started yet. They're still just chilling in the lobby. Not really sure what they are discussing at the moment. Did I miss the first game? No, first game is still ongoing. They're having a restore. Oh, and the restore has just launched. We'll be getting into that in just a second. Download the save data. Yes, Age of Empires. That's exactly what I want to do. You need to brace yourselves, because as soon as we get into this game, we're going to be seeing potentially a massive engagement between 60 Paladins versus 120 Arbs. 10 min spec delay. I don't think so. Nope. We are in. Capture Age. Let's go. Hey, Samado. How's it going? Oh, let's go look at the big fight. Here we are. Massive army of Paladin from King Boo. Pushing forwards. Rolling over the massive amount of arbs that the Aussie team does have. Kiwi is unfortunately sacrificing a lot of his Cavalier just before he gets Paladin, just to try to body block and buy some time. And we see the Briton arbs just shooting away from the backline. I feel like you just need to garrison a bunch of these arbs into the castle. Use the castle fire. Use the superior arrows and damage that the castle provides. Get in. Jump into the castle, please. Castles deal more damage than arbs do. Not a great position to be in, but honestly, that could have gone quite a bit worse. We've got 2 castles firing on these Paladin. We do, though, have an issue where if these Paladin just turn around and go for a raid, which is exactly what they're going for, it is a little bit tricky. On the other side, though, we see Soxy trying to push forwards once again. He's teching into Pikeman. He's only got a small number of arbs is the issue right here. The Debs fixer. I think it's more likely that it's just the captain, the host, King Boo. I'm not sure why it says player. King Boo. That's who he's supposed to be. Just chose the correct spec delay. How much gold does Boo have left in the back? He's finished this one. He has 1,200 gold on that tile. Plus, he's got 3,500 gold, essentially. And he is already making trade. Big trade numbers already for this stage of the game, to be honest. We see Soxy coming forwards for a castle right here. The Arbs and Helbs aren't exactly in the best position right now, but I think this castle might be able to go up. If Darvoy targets the villagers with his ranged units, I think he should be able to deny it. On the other side, there are still Paladins just roaming around Flightless Bird's base. Even at the top corner, this does actually allow Kiwi to discover some extra gold and stone. But Soxy's dropped a bunch of markers, but there's no trade whatsoever being started for Team Down Under. Whereas Pub, on the other hand, well, I say Pub, Boo. Boo is pumping out the trade that he needs to make Paladin right now. But Paladin numbers are starting to equalize. Kiwi has a decent number of Paladin. He has a monastery somewhere. He's got a single relic. There's another one sitting outside his base that he could go pick up. Potentially another one down here. And we see the market starting to be built, and all the Paladin in the back have now been cleaned up. The walls through the middle of the map, I mean, they're not perfect, but they're getting there. They've walled at least the front of Soxy's base. Soxy does need some assistance right now from Kiwi. Big Paladin swing coming through the middle of the map. The walls, though, through the middle of the map are almost complete for Team Pub. There's just a little bit of a hole here at the front of Dave Hunt's base. We see some more eco-grades coming in for Mr. Flightless Bird. He does have huge ARB numbers, but to be honest, so does Dave. Dave's not that far behind. And there is a very important gold here that everybody wants to be fighting over. And oh boy, here comes the engagement. Come on, Kiwi. Get those Paladin in there. They are Frank Paladin, though, so they do have that extra amount of HP. The castle at the front has been denied. Another defensive castle here has not even been started just yet. There's more villagers heading over this way right now. Boo's army is going to be cleaned up. Soxy is still relatively alive right now. He should just back up with his arbs, leave the Paladin to kill up all the skirms, and then push into Darvoy's base. But once again, Boo is just constantly focusing on raiding. We see a nice castle coming up from Kiwi here to secure this golden stone. He's got some army just sitting around back here. Boo needs to delete vills, probably. He's not at 200 pop yet, so I'm not sure if that would be the best idea. Soxy has deleted the forward castle, going for 2 castles now in these positions. He doesn't have a lot of ranged units, is the big issue. He's got a lot of helms, which he needed to defend and push away King Boo's pushes. But now, they are almost a liability when faced off against all of these Saracen Arbs and Elite Skirms. Over on the side, the Trebs are just sort of rolling around right now. Where is Flight's army? Flight, what are you doing, my man? You've got almost 80 Arbs just sitting here, not really doing anything. And Boo is just continuously trying to dive into Kiwi's eco. Kiwi's got less than 100 vills, which is not ideal. And so much of his army is just spread out all over the map, chasing these pesky, annoying raids. And it does look like Flight is about to lose another castle, which is definitely not ideal. This castle over here looks like it was probably deleted. I doubt it was killed by Paladin. But Soxy should just gobble up this gold as quickly as possible, I think. But the Paladin numbers right now are quite insane. We've got 60 for Kiwi, only 35 for Boo. But Boo does have 10 times the trade carts. So in the next, 5 or so minutes, these Paladin numbers are going to absolutely switch around. So Kiwi's team, they need to get on the aggressive. They need to be aggressive, be on the offensive. They need to push while they have a little bit of an army lead, and while they have the trade deficit, and try to mitigate that in some way. Ideally by trading off as much of the army as possible. Mayan could switch to plumes. I mean, potentially. The problem is not really having enough trade. And now, Flight is losing the front of his base. I'm not really sure why, to be honest. His arbs just haven't really done anything for quite a long time at this point. All the fighting seems to be localized on Stoxy's side, and we're seeing the scores switching back and forth, back and forth. Both sides are fighting underneath castles right now. We've got Helbs and Arbs versus Skirms and Arbs, and then a bunch of Paladin, but they are Frank Paladins, remember. Yeah, Mayans did lose 2 Paladins, so I think if there's any switch that's going to happen for Flight, it's probably going to be for Eagles. But that requires a ton of gold, which he does not have, because he's only just now starting up the trade. We see Hussar Tech coming in for Kiwi, so he recognizes that he can't afford to keep up Paladin instantly. Which I think is definitely the good call. The problem is, Flight is just having a very, very rough time right now. There's even some Paladin coming in. Oh, and like this is open as well. The raids can just continue to dive in. Delete some of these houses and get up fortified walls is what needs to happen right now, I think. On this side, it does look like they are winning. They are pushing back Darvoy, but they don't really have the siege. They've only got a single solitary trebuchet taking down this castle right now. While Flight is slowly losing the entirety of his base, is he going to be able to get these quick walls up before the Paladin get through? He does have a lot of arbs here. I think he'll be okay for the foreseeable future, but the castle push is continuing. And this has now allowed Darvoy to reclaim this gold and this stone. Potentially even take this stone away from Flight. Could be quite annoying. We see Yeoman coming in now. We're about to see fully upgraded Britain Arbalests. Okay, the castle has gone down. Now they need to kill one of these gates so that they can get in. Try to get into this bottom corner because the trade lead is absolutely astounding right now. Boo by himself has more trade than all of the Aussie team combined, which is not what we are used to seeing. What is the resources bank? Let's go take a look at that. See, gold-wise, there's a reasonable amount for some of the Aussies, but Boo is just going to have constant gold income for the rest of the game at this point. He has so much trade. There's still some relics in the middle of the map that could be picked up by somebody. We do see Hussars now coming in. Who cares if you have Paladin when I've got twice as many Hussar? The issue is going to be pushing back this castle. How are they going to push Britain castles? I feel like they need to get siege rams from Flight right now. How is Boo on 92 vills? Is he deleting? Yes, he is indeed. Once you start to get trade up, you start to delete vills. Because honestly, what are you going to do with your vills? There's no more gold to mine. Right, like you finished off these golds at the back. Those vills, you can just sack them all off. You don't need them anymore. It seems like the... Oh, this is a nice swing around. Going to snipe all these trebs. Potentially kill all these arbs as well. Oh, does he have Wolf? I can't tell. Probably not. He does have it? Oh, never mind. Well, that was just really good micro there. From Flight to just dodge all those shots. They have cleaned this up, but in return, Soxy looks like he's going to get cleaned up on the other side. Full skirms and a lot of Paladin. How many Paladin? Boo has 50 Paladin right here. This is insane. Soxy's absolutely been cleaned. And you see the weakness that counter units tend to have. When they're matched up against a very, very large amount of incredibly powerful gold units like Paladin, they just absolutely get ripped through. Soxy's backing up. The walls are essentially complete to this point. We see Trebuchet starting to get into the action from Mr. Kiwi. The trade count is starting to get to healthy numbers for everybody except for Soxy. Soxy just has big help numbers while Kiwi tries to reinforce on this side with more cavalry of his own. We're seeing a longbow switch potentially from Dayfun. Definitely makes sense for the longer term of the game. You want to get into longbows eventually because otherwise arbs by themselves are not the greatest. The question is, will he have enough castles, since he's now lost 1, potentially 2, maybe even 3 castles pretty quickly. I like this castle from Kiwi though, securing some more stone. They need to patch this hole in the wall before these Paladin raids start up once again. Where... Oh, is Boo just going to try to dive through this gate? No, he's not. And we see Soxy is now switching into skirms himself, recognizing, well, if you're making a ton of skirms, why don't I just join you? Oh, and we're going to see elite Mamelukes. Only got the 2 castles though. But Mamelukes are definitely going to be an incredibly dangerous unit to be making. We do see more more Paladin and more Hussars coming in from Kiwi from around the side, rolling off this hill. The Rams coming forward from Soxy to try to bash through these walls. I think Yes, we're winning this fight. Let's go, boys. We do see, once again, there's a couple of Paladin in the trade lines. We do see Siege Workshop coming down. No Siege Ram just yet. We're making Trebuchets instead. Flight seems to be a little bit lost, if I'm being honest, in this game right now. But they have just cleaned this army quite nicely. These Rams get on the walls, push, 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 get into this base before there's too many Mamelukes. If they can get to 30, 40 Mameluke numbers, this might be a very, very tricky fight to contest. Never really seen 70 trade cards plus 70 build. That's generally the best way. Like, if you're a Paladin player, at minimum, you need 60 farmers, 60 trade carts, and then like 10 lumberjacks / stable builders, and then everything else is just Paladin. Is like the ideal eco balance. And then maybe you go up to 70 farmers and 70 trade carts, depending on what your trade line is like. Because Boo still actually needs to delete these walls at the back of his base, for instance. That would make his trade line significantly better. Much, much smoother. And now we're going to see the damage from these Mamelukes. Most of this army is not fighting, it's just sort of sitting around these holes in the walls in this gate, which allows the Mamelukes to get free damage in with their ranged throwing scimitars. I would just love to see an Eagle switch from Flight. He's got 40 trade cards, so he's probably getting close to a position where he could afford an Eagle switch. And he's bloody Paladin, just constantly raiding. Oh, but Kiwi, yes, 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 go. Dive. Dive, my boy, dive. Don't attack houses. No, go for the trade. Go for the trade, my man. I do like this forward castle, though, from Soxy, pushing forwards. He probably should add in Chuko News, if we're being honest. Pure Helbs is not going to cut it. He needs some sort of ranged unit. He's only got the 24 trade carts, though, that's the issue. But he needs some sort of ranged unit to support the Paladin, shoot over their backs, and try to snipe the Mamelukes especially. Okay, but we do see the Paladin now starting to get into the trade line. Absolutely lovely, what we want to see. 70 Paladin. Boo's only down to 30 Paladin, though. What's happening here? We've got a big scary push coming forwards, though. Once again, another castle on this hill. Some more trebuchets with Warwolf. Flightless Bird is going to get the first shot off. Is he going to be able to snipe a trebuchet before he starts to lose his own? Because the Britain Trebs, they are 100% accurate. They always hit. Yes, he does. Oh, that is huge. He's probably going to win. Oh, and then Kiwi. Kiwi just comes in at the perfect time as well. He loses one Treb, but then they're going to clean up all the Dave's army right here. The push on this side is continuing. All of a sudden, Boo, and he's still only got 35 Paladin. Kiwi has mass Paladin numbers right now, streaming forwards, plus the Helbs. We've got some Siege coming in from Soxy as well. How did those raiding units go? It seems like they all got cleaned up pretty hard by the Mamelukes. But now, he's returning the favor to Boo, just diving into Paladin, dragging his army away from the front lines, allowing Soxy to push forwards and get into a good position. That castle has been denied. Kiwi's adding in Trebs of his own to take it down. Dave Hun looks like he's going to lose some more trebuchets once again. His army, it's so incredibly vulnerable to a Paladin swing because he's got no helps of his own. It looks like Kiwi has preserved his Paladin numbers better. Let's go take a look at the KD. 451 to 300. Honestly, the KDs are fairly equivalent. I think just the Hussar timing for Kiwi, switching into Hussars for 5 or 10 minutes as he set up the trade, was just absolutely huge. Questionable Mameluke switch, considering Soxy was already on Helbs. I think you have to do it at some point, because Mamelukes are just such an all-round great unit. Right? Their stats are amazing, they've got so much more HP than an Arb. They're absolutely Shrek through Paladin. Honestly, they do pretty well against Helbs as long as you're able to micro them because of the range that they have. We see a push coming in here. Look at this. We've got 6 trebuchets targeting this castle. It's going to go down in no time. We've got Skirms and Arbs, and we're starting to see Plumed Archer switch. Elite Plumes coming in from Flightless Bird. I think I would prefer Eagles, as I said. Just run in there, don't care, tank. But it looks like we're pushing on both sides of the map right now. Robo streams. I stream when there are Oz tournament games happening, is what I've decided in the past 2 weeks. Yeah, Kiwi was definitely in a pretty poor position earlier in the game, but they've managed to bring it back. How are you doing, Jordan, by the way? Oh, and now we see like the reverse situation, where if you've got no Helbs around, a couple of Paladin just run in and absolutely clean up these armies. And the issue with switching into Plumes is they're obviously better against ranged units, But because they have one less attack than Arbs, they're actually significantly weaker against Paladin. So I feel like if you want to do the plume switch, you have to add your own helves or eagles of some type, just to avoid getting absolutely destroyed by Paladin. Oh, sick. Good job, Desi, selling out the stream for me. I love it. It looks like this is going to be a bit of a long game, to be honest. I was thinking that we were in a winning position, but now it's slowed back down to a little bit of a stalemate. Yellow is once again pushing forwards. I just don't agree with the plume switch from Flight. I think it should be Eagles instead. He's even trying to pick up some relics. I do like that indeed. And yeah, we're starting to see the helms coming out for the Bryn player. He's figured out, I want to stop dying to Paladin swings. Let's get my own arbs. Bombard Tower has just been researched by Soxy. How much stone does he have? He doesn't have a ton of stone, let's be honest. He's only got 460 stone. But there we go. We see a couple of BBT being built at the front. Saracen player has quite a lot of castles, to be honest. 4 castle production of Mamelukes is pretty solid. And all the while, he does still have a decent number of skirms and arbs behind this as well. Push on this side is continuing. And we do see a little bit of a score switch coming in. Trade numbers, we've got 70, 40, 50. 50, 60, 70. So there's a very slight trade advantage for the pub team. It looks like there's a planned push coming in the middle. Kiwi has a bunch of buildings, got some siege workshops as well. Potentially onagers, maybe capped rams. It looks like there's a hole there anyway, so it doesn't even matter. Oh. Blight did all that effort to pick up that relic, and then the monastery just gets instantly killed. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, we see the big paladin numbers. Yeah, both players, both the pockets have recognized, hey, let's just get in here. But Kiwi's going for it first. It looks like he's going to clean this army just in time, just before Boo gets here. Where is Flight to get involved? He's coming forwards now as well. Davon has a couple of helps, but honestly, not nearly enough. The issue is there any siege to take down this castle? It does not look like there is. We need obsidian arrows. No. That is a toxic tech from the past. We don't think about that anymore. And we're actually seeing Mamelukes swinging sides, going from one side to the other. And we're also seeing onagers being checked right now for Soxy. Okay, we see some trebs popping out right now. Let's got some capped rams coming forwards. The wall with trebs just hiding at the back right now. Also checking into capped rams for himself. I don't know if Britain capped rams is really the ideal play right now. They have taken this hill. This castle is going to fall pretty quickly, but now the wall with trebs have unpacked. What are they targeting? I want to see some big booms. He killed his own trade. I don't know if he did that or if that was the ranged units, but it was perfect timing right there. Does Boo have chivalry? I have absolutely no idea. Let's click on a castle. Is there a way to see this? I've got no idea. Is there any other than Wikipedia? AoE Zone and Reddit are probably your best places. There are some Discords where people will share their events, but really it depends on what sort of tournament you're looking for. If you're looking for the pro tournaments to watch or play, then they are most likely going to be on AoE Zone or Wikipedia. If you're looking for more casual tournaments, probably Reddit would be the place. But the thing is that they don't stay on Reddit for very long, so you need to be checking almost daily or, you know, at least every 2 days if you want to really have an idea of what's going on. I think the biggest issue right here is that Saracens is just such a late game powerhouse. We see counterweights coming in as well for extra damage on these trebs. That the longer this game goes, the harder it's going to be for the Aussies to win. I say Aussies, the Aussies and the Kiwis, because Saracens is a great late game civ. Mayans fall off pretty damn hard. Oh, there's no holes here. Oh, and they just run through the gate, it seems. And even like Chinese, they're going to fall off as well eventually, because they don't have siege engineers. I guess Chuganus are a decent unit, but they're by no means insane. Population-wise, though, we do have a solid villager lead, but we're massively behind in army right now. And Kiwi has got hardly any paladin on the field right now, whereas King Boo has 50. And the issue right now is that all of Kiwi's stables are forwards here, so every time a couple of units pop out of these stables, they're just getting ganked by King Boo's forward paladin. He needs to drop more stables at home and start using those instead. Counterweight siege onagers, I mean, they're probably going to be the play sooner or later. We see some Mamelukes just diving through. I'm not sure where they're going. Yeah, this Britain push, though, on this side is starting to look scary. I really like to see eagles instead of plumes. The eagles will be great against the longbows. They'll be great against the helves. They're not going to be amazing against paladins and Mamelukes, but they're going to be a little bit better, I would assume. And we do see more paladin raids popping in all sides as well. Oh, they've overchopped, it seems. That's how this raid has managed to get in. Kiwi is still in his loaner's pocket license. I mean, Kiwi was doing a really great job earlier in the game. I mean, you know, I don't want to assign blame, but it feels like Flight really lost his way in early Imperial Age. He was sort of sitting around when he had huge army advantage instead of pushing hard. Plumes in late game make me sad. Exactly. Like, they're great against longbows, but against every other unit, they're really not ideal. And this Saracen Death Ball is starting to form right here. We've got Bombard Cannons, we've got Skirms and Arms, we've got Mamelukes, we've got a shit ton of Trebuchets right here. And all that Soxy's really making right now are Helbs and a couple of Onagers that don't even have Siege Engineers. Like, you see them just walk in, kill the Onagers, and then just wander away. And the raids... Oh... Boo's Eco KD must be absolutely insane at this point. 136 to 6. Absolutely crazy raids he's been constantly doing. And it looks like the walls in the middle of the map have been patched, but Boo is in an absolutely cracked position right now. GG incoming, potentially. We do see Siege Rams starting to prepare a counter push. Kiwi is back up to healthy paladin numbers, but he doesn't have a lot in the queue. And these raids are going to start to be a problem, because, like, even though they have cleaned the raid, there are still just 3 paladin doing nothing here. So if you multiply that by 10 times, you know, 10 different little raids, you got 30 paladins sitting in the back of the base doing absolutely nothing. And this fight right here, it's a pretty equal fight. I think this castle is probably going to make the difference. He's also made a single Magyar Hussar. I'm guessing that that is a misclick. Flight is starting to push back. The Plumes are doing a decent job as long as there are no paladins on this side of the field, really. I want to see eagles. I keep harping on about it, but it's what I want to see. But Soxy, though, I don't know what Soxy can really do to fight this. And honestly, I'm not sure what Kiwi can do either, because as long as there is a decent number of Mamelukes, the paladins really can't impact on the fights very well at all. We're going to see some decent Onager shots right there, but the Helbs are going to do nothing against the Skirms and the Arbs right here. I feel like Soxy needs to switch back into ranged units, honestly. But as soon as that happens, the Bombard Cannons and potentially switching into Saracen Onagers would be the play. It looks like Soxy is in a little bit of a rough position right now. The pushback has stalled out for both sides. Kiwi and Boo are just continuing to duke it out with massive paladin fights in the middle. Both sides trying to get some little raids in. This has now been opened up, though. Hopefully we get a reroll behind this to stop those raids. Kiwi was trying to snipe the siege weapons, is what it looked like. Where is Soxy's army right now? He's only got 8 helbs. And his eco is... Honestly, it's not looking that great. The team as a whole has an absolute crap ton of gold, though. Like 4,000 gold for Kiwi, 1,200 gold for Soxy, 1,300 gold for Flight. We could definitely see an eagle switch at this point in time for Flight if he remembers or thinks about it. I felt like both flanks had massive leads and then they just stalled out. Yep, that is pretty much the summation of what's happened this game. Boo had a big lead over Kiwi early. Both the flanks had leads over the pub team. And then it has just sort of slowly stalled out and swung back the other way. Look at these sneaky villagers trying to tower this wood line. The question is, if this game continues for another 30 minutes, are we going to see a wood game? I doubt it, because I don't think we're going to last 30 more minutes on this side, to be honest. Like, Kiwi's coming in here with all these paladin, and it's going to get absolutely fucking shredded by these Mamelukes. Yes, they kill a couple of the Trebs, but the Mamelukes just do so much damage, and the Arbs, the Helms versus Arbs and Skirms is just not the answer. I think full Skirms from Soxy might be a better choice at this point. Or like almost full Skirms, like, you know, 40 Skirms, a couple of Helms, and some Onagers, something along those lines. I feel might be a more useful army for him to be making. The Plumes and the Rams, they're starting to push backwards. We've got some Onagers here, plus a lot of Longbows. Sitting on a nice, comfy hill right here. Are we going to see Onager shots on the Plumes? We see some decent shots. Fire away. The Siege Rams, though, have targeted down the Onagers. All the Onagers have now finally died. The Plumes will start to push forwards. But as we keep saying, on this other side, Soxy is not in a great position right now. Darvoy needs less Skirms and more Onagers. I definitely agree with that. I'm not going to lie, he could probably just delete all of those Skirms. I feel like they're not really contributing that much. Replacing them with Arbs would be more useful if you're fighting against the Helms. And then, yeah, basically every unit that they're fighting currently, Arbs would be better, because Soxy's not making his own Skirms. At one point, it was looking so good for Oz. Oh, yes, indeed it was. The team score is starting to diverge more and more and more. And the longer the game goes, the more that the Frank bonus is going to start to pay off. Because 12 extra HP, you know, it's okay. But 12 extra HP when you make 1,000 Paladin, right, that is a huge difference over the course of a game. Is Mega Cav Archer an option? I would say no. Because the Cav Archers aren't really going to deal with the Paladin great. Like, they'll do okay, but 60 Paladin versus 60 CA, the CA is just going to be constantly running away. Which allows the Paladin player, which is Boo here, to just constantly dictate what the game is going to look like. And just like constantly fighting like this in the middle of the map really isn't doing much for the team. Because you're always going to lose these fights because you've got less HP. He's trying to dive in once again for the trade and for the ego. He needs to spread out these Paladin as quickly as possible. Oh, and we've got another hole here. Kiwi has more Paladin back here. And we also see some Helms coming over from Dave. I love this. 20 Helms just sitting on these barracks is going to absolutely deny any of these shenanigans. And like Kiwi's even gone for a raid and he hasn't killed a single eco unit. They're just fighting Paladin. That could have been a good raid if he split them up and, you know, you send 2 Paladin over here, 2 Paladin here, 2 Paladin here. That's what you need to do. You need to spread out and try to just drag as much army as possible throughout the base. I hear something being attacked somewhere. Oh, there it is. Oh, and this Paladin back here. How many kills do you have? You've killed 15 eco units back here. You bloody bastard. And once again, Flight is trying to prepare a push forwards, but he doesn't have massive army behind this. He has a ton of trade carts. He's got a decent amount of gold. Kiwi has massive gold income right now. I keep saying it. I want to see Eagles instead of Plumes. I think Plumes would allow him to play almost completely solo against Britons. And then Kiwi can concentrate on trying to team up with Soxy and try to make something happen. I guess Magyar Cav Archers and trying to go for a raid might make sense. Or even the Plumes, to be honest. Like, this is open here. If you grabbed, you know, 20 Plumes and you ran through this hole and you get into the trade line and you just start nuking trade carts, that could be a win condition. Oh, we've got more holes in these walls now. I say that as if there isn't this ginormous push on this side. Oh, and then the Mamluks look like they're just going to dive for the trade line. They're thinking about it, at least. I mean, if they sit here and they tank a couple of Onager shots, that would be nice. Nope, he's aware. He's paying attention. This is still going? Yes, somehow it is still going. More big fights happening in the middle. Flightless Bird is continuing to sort of poke forwards and backwards versus the Onagers from Britons. Oh, and now we do see the Saracen SO coming out. And everybody knows that Chinese are weak to Onagers. How about Saracen SO? When they've got Siege Engineers and they've got counterweights for extra damage. Look at Soxy trying to be a micro. He's trying to out-micro Onagers. That's not going to work, my man. And now it's too late. Like, 30 minutes ago, having 20 or 30 skirms would have been amazing. But now, with the Onagers on the fields, There's absolutely nothing that Soxy can do to fight against the Saracen army. And Dave does have an crazy amount of gold in the bank right now. He could just buy like 10,000 stone and just sling it to the rest of the team for castles everywhere if he wanted to. But, unfortunately, it does look like it's going to be a Game 1 loss for Team Down Under, for the Aussies and the Kiwis. Pub. I say pub, but honestly, it's just the Saracens. Saracens too strong in the late game. Yep, Soxy just unable to hold on. And then the stalemate on the side is just continuing. They've been fighting back and forth over this hill for the past hour. But now that the keep spam is starting to come in, it looks like it's... Oh, and there's another hole, and the GG is being called. Honestly, that was an absolutely cracked game. It was incredibly back and forth. Take a look at the quickly take a look at the statistics. Like 1,200 kills. But yeah, like you see how many more deaths Kiwi has compared to Frank's just because of the less HP that he has. Let's go, boys. One. No, get out of here. We're cheering for the Aussies in the stream. We're not cheering for the dirty British colonizers. Gold income. Yeah, Boo absolutely cracked with his early trade net count. Relic gold is not too bad. It's always a nice little boost. I like seeing that. And we see here Darvo is the only player to get to Imperial Age, seeing as there was a restore. Oh, let's jump outside. Cheering for the Aussies, not the Kiwis and fight. Oh yeah, them too. But everybody knows that the Kiwis are essentially just an offshoot of the Aussies, right? So we'll put down a win, and a win, and we'll update the score as well. And then we have a loss, and a loss. So we're going to go to one of the Aussie home maps now, Black Forest or Chaos Pit. Aussies can eat a bucket of grass. Oi. Bugger off, man. Kiwi is an NZ imposter. What do you mean Kiwi an NZ imposter? He is NZ. He can't be an imposter. Have we also claimed Salted? Yes, we have. Salted is an honorary Aussie at this point. He signed up with us for the Rising Teams tournament as well. Unfortunately, he's not in the team for this tournament specifically, but an upcoming 3v3 tournament, he's in the team. We're not sure how much he's going to play because he's a little bit busy at the time being, but if we progress through the rounds, he might get some games in. Let's go take a look. Lobby is being set up. And it looks like we're going to see some changes to the players playing for the AusNZ team. It is 1:20 AM in New Zealand, so we're probably going to see Kiwi and Flight dip out and see some combination of Razor, Chris, and Noz getting involved. It looks like we're going to be on BF. Yeah, it looks like game 2 is going to be BF. So let me update the settings thingo. Sadly, first round exit for you guys. Nah. Get out of here. What civs are we gonna see on BF is the question. Chudens, definitely a possibility. Potentially Bohemians and Cumans. None of the other civs really stand out to me for pub. GG's Kiwi, that was a crazy game. You guys played your hearts out. Could have won, but couldn't get into Frank's base and castle. I think it was more an issue in early Imperial Age, to be honest. Because there's quite a few times where both Soxy and Flight were just massively ahead of their guys, and then it just sort of stalled out. Orange did a great job just getting the fortified walls up to the middle of the map, though. He definitely potentially saved the team there. Because you could have just started massively raiding through Orange's base, and then... Or even just Soxy just rolling through his base if there weren't the mass amount of walls. Okay. Looks like they are rehosting so that we can use Rage Forest BF. So we can have, hopefully, fair ponds instead of the potentially jank default BF version. And it looks like the players are going to be Chris, Noz, and Soxy. But I think you guys should be pretty happy with that game. You go sleep. Yep, fair enough, Kiwi. GG's. Well played. Good luck waking up for work in the morning. I didn't expect Arabia to be a 1.5 hour long game. We'll watch from the bed. Okay. Cheers for the support, my man. Okay, lobby has been rehosted. They are getting in, getting ready. I'm just thinking, what civ would you want to use on flank for BF? I think they have to use Bohemians, but they might want Bohemians for arena. Do they maybe just throw BF, seeing as they don't have Fanji here to carry them? It's definitely a possibility. And they are switching in Stake instead of Dave Hun. 14 pub. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what they're going to use for BF. Bengalis could be a decent flank civ, for sure. But again, that could be decent for BF as well, for arena. A lot of the BF and arena civs are pretty similar. So Cumans is probably arena, not BF. In which case, Chudens makes a lot of sense for BF. But then maybe you don't want monks on arena, so maybe you use Chudens for arena and then Cumans for BF. Malay. I think Malay personally makes a lot more sense on arena than BF. I don't think that they have a ton of bonuses that you can use for like the early Vil Wars trying to contest the ponds, and then their late game army comp is honestly not that great, right? They've got Arbs, they've got Karambits, I guess, they've got cheap Ellies, they've got BBT, Malay Fishboom. You can't guarantee that you're going to have a pond is the problem. And if there's only one pond, you probably want the pocket to take it instead, because they are less distracted, right? The flanks are often, dealing with rushes and fast imps and whatnot. They can't fully, do a 50 or 60 fish boom. Whereas the pocket, maybe they have to wall something, maybe they have to micro their scout a little bit, and then they've got, 20 minutes to make fish traps and place them perfectly. But yeah, I think it has to be one of Tudens and Cumans as the pocket. And then the flanks could potentially be Berbers, going for faster Vils, make it a bit messy with the Vil fight. And then maybe Sicilians, so that they've got another SO Civ. I mean, I guess if they did Cuman pocket, then Sicilians on the flank would make a lot of sense. Because that would give you a Helb SO Civ to support on the sides. The only issue with Sicilians is they're very limited in what they're going to do. They can do Helb SO, they can do Cavalier, and I guess they can do Sergeants as well. That's really all they can do. I guess they've got okay arbs. So you could potentially go for some sort of fast imp, but like they don't have amazing monks. They don't have bombard cannons, so most fast imp plays are sort of just straight off the table with Sicilians. Okay, game is just about to start. You missed the draft. What do all the different borders and icons mean? Also, does anyone have a link to the draft? If you do !Fox, you can go to the Wikipedia page to find the link to the draft. But essentially, what it is the last two picks that you have, you then give to your opponent. So for the team down under, we picked Vikings and Sicilians, and then we gave them to the opposition's team. And then in a best of five, you have to use both of the, in quotation marks, shitty civs that you've been given as part of your 15 civ rotation. Whereas if you do win 3-0 or 3-1, you could potentially avoid using them in the correct situations. But we will now jump into game number 2. Let's slow this down. Let's go back to normal speed. We're jumping into BF. So reverse pick, yeah, something like that. They've called it a reverse steal, but essentially that's how it works. Civ-wise, we've got Spanish and Ethiopian flanks and a Celt pocket versus Tudens on pocket with Japanese and Bohemian flanks. Okay, that makes quite a bit of sense, I think. And we see Noz trying to force a forward position, but there's going to be two scouts versus his single scout at the moment. Where is Chris's scout going? Chris is coming this way to join in, okay. Luckily, I would almost say he has decided to go to this side as well. And we see extra Vils being sent forward by Darvoy. We see a Vil fight going on this side as well. It does look like we've got a HP lead ever so slightly for Mr. Steak. Back up on this side. Both players really want to try to contest this gold. And we see Noz chucking forward some more Vils as well. Noz's scout, though, is heavily injured at this point, but Chris's scout is still at full HP. So he is going to be very, very active at trying to snipe any injured villagers as they run away from the Vil fights. Yeah, and he's just picking off these scouts as well. Noz is doing his best. Keep his scout alive so that he can potentially use it to push deer. Maybe lure these boar later on. And we see the first villager kill go down. Oh, let's go back to the Eco KD. Yep, Chris did manage to snipe a Vil with his very, very healthy scout right here. Really well played by the Aussies so far. Noz pulling back the injured Vil, sending forwards more Vils. We're committing. We're all in on the Vil fights right now. Back on the other side, Red has tried to get a wall up, but Soxy does have extra HP on his scout. And we see here they're trying to... Oh, look at this blocking. Red is doing a great job, but it looks like they're just going to trade villages 1 for 1. Both players losing a Vil right here. Looks like they're just going to go again and try to trade another 1 for 1. But Red is actually at an advantage right here. He's killed 1 Vil. He has 2 Vils at approximately half health running away. Oh, and Soxy, while microing the villagers, lost his scout underneath the TC. Definitely not ideal. Soxy's now trying to commit to the walls. Back up on this side. The fighting continues. Darvoy still only losing the 1 single villager at this point. Noz did actually lose his scout there. Does pick off Orange's scout as well. Potentially just going to kill these deer and then leave. That's what I would be quite happy with. Okay, but now they have just settled on this wall. An ever so slight lead for Steak. He killed 1 extra villager. Oh, Big Walt, thank you for the raid, my man. This is part of the Fox Invitational series. We've got Team Down Under, made up of Australian and New Zealand players, fighting off against Pub, Team UK, plus Dave Hudden. And here we have BF, absolutely crazy game. We've got Vil fights going on all the sides. Hey Nilis, how's it going? We're just seeing absolute boxing mayhem on this map. And then in the middle, absolutely nothing going on. Ooh, is Boo gonna lose a Vil to a board? That would be Titanic. He screwed up somehow. He was trying to lure a 3-bore. Oh, Boo, you potato. Oh, we're seeing some more villagers going down. Noz has lost another Vil. Oh, sorry, he's lost one Vil. Darvoy's lost another one, though. Doing a good job pulling away that injured Vil. We see here Darvoy's trying to trap this villager in. But he has a lot of injured villagers here. Like this particular lady right here, only on 8 HP. Potentially a messy fight. This guy looks like he's trapped in the middle, though. He's going to die. He does fall down. 2, 3 more hits, though, to kill that villager. Looks like they're both going to make it out. And Noz is just full sending it seems. They're just constantly cycling the injured villagers back, sending forward full HP vills. Oh, the punch-ons just never end. And then there was a little bit of a punch-on. We see that Red had some forward walls, but didn't manage to complete them. And then now they've just passively agreed to commit to this wall. Soxy now. Oh, no, he's going to lose this villager if he's not paying attention. Okay, he just commits to a wall here. Definitely not the best wall. You would think that you would try to get it up at this point. Because this sort of forces Chris to come wall the middle section at some point as well, which is definitely not ideal. I haven't even considered discussing the ponds. We've got a pond down here for Steak on the flank, whereas Chris has a pond, but it's only got 2 fish in it. That sucks. 2 fish versus 3 fish, but it is a pocket using the pond. So it's definitely an advantage, I think, ever so slightly in Team Down Under side. And the Vil fighting is just constantly ongoing here. More Vils being sent in and out. Slight HP lead for Noz at the moment. But really, it all comes down to who can micro best. So you've got to keep pulling these villagers away. You've got to be careful that you don't get trapped. Like, you could turn around and just punch this lady, I think. Oh, I am so glad that I'm not playing this. I absolutely hate these endless Vil wars. And we see Boo here. He's got 2 Vils forward, so it looks like he's going to go for a very forward wall, potentially, against Chris. I think the biggest, in quotation marks, problem that I have with this is you have Saracen, sorry, not Saracens, you have Spanish committing to the hill fight. Spanish, you almost want, oh, that villager's going to die. Oh, that was not ideal, Noz. Oh, no, saved? Saved, maybe? 4 HP, can only afford to take 2 hits, but it looks like she will make it home. In return, I don't think he's going to kill that one. Oh, yes, wall these vills in. Yes, Noz, go. Go, you mad lad, go. We see 2 players up to feudal age. Chris, fast feudaling as the Kelp Pocket. Oh, don't walk into the TC. No, Noz. Noz, no. You were doing so well. You were doing so well, and then now you've lost another villager there. I really hope that you can quick tap these walls. Oh. Yes, punch. No. Oh, that's unfortunate. More punch-ons here. Oh, is he going to get away? Is she going to get away? I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, this is going to come out to almost a 0-0 draw. The question is, why is Chris up so fast to feudal age? I mean, I say fast, but actually, I've just completely lost track of time. He's up on 24 Vils. Oh, you dirty, dirty quick walling cheat. And he's also got a bit of a diagonal gate coming in behind this wall to try to commit to this, potentially, or maybe he just wants to get this villager home. Delete the gate and just delete the wall and run for it. Seems to be the play. Quick, come on, Noz. Yes, get the quick taps. Quick taps. Quick taps. Yes, 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 yes. No! That was not what I wanted to see. Oh, this is messy. This villager may die. Oh, look at the wall. Look at that wall. But Noz, quick, send that villager. Yes, 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 yes. Keep them stuck. What happened to this villager over here? I assume that it died. I hope that it died. This villager here, he's going to die as well. Oh, the committal just never stops. Does she make it out? It looks like it. I feel like at this point, Noz, you just need to stop and just get the wall up and relax. Take a deep breath. Stop fighting. Oh no, he's just going for it. He's just going and going and going. And we see King Boo in the middle, getting up stone walls. Soxy is doing a little bit of a Vil fight and a tower. Potentially going for just a forward wall, bash through this, and then get a forward stone wall. I don't hate that. Especially if you recognize the fact that your opposition flank has a pond. You're probably worried about fast imp plays, so getting a really forward wall will help buy you a ton of time to ensure that you don't get wrecked. Oh, and the fighting. We do have a feudal age scout now. We have the feudal age scout, but all of these villages are currently very, very healthy. Which means that there's not a lot that Chris is going to be able to do. And oh, Chris just gets, Chris just gets instantly ganks. Oh, no. Not Eco KD is 8 to 6 at the moment. And his build count, I guess the fact that having clicked up the feudal age, you know, explains most of this. Oh, look at the walls. Oh, she is probably going to die, but then so does he. Trading one for... Oh, and down he goes. Yes, that's exactly what we want to see. Good job, Noz. Absolute god gamer you are. Where are more healthy villas? There's 2 more healthy villas over here. Come on, Noz. You got healthy villas here. You got 3 of them. Send them forwards. Get them in the fight. Oh, what? That is a feudal age scout on full HP. That's not good. It looks like Chris is thinking about doing some sort of a siege push. Or maybe a monastery. Oh, no. Don't let this go up. Yeah, this isn't going to be ideal because there's... The student player... Oh, another villager does go down. That was a nice wall there from Orange. And Orange is just committing now. Yeah, that feudal age scout is going to be a pickle for sure. I guess a mangonel with good micro will be okay, but as soon as a knight comes out, I think Chris is going to be in some trouble. Yeah, and there we do. We do see the forward stone walls, just like I expected. We see 1 extra TC being added for Boo. 1 also for Chris. He hasn't got a crazy fishboom setup going just yet. He's got 1 scorpion right now, but there's very, very soon... Yeah, here comes the first knight and another scout as well. I love King Boo, he's so handsome. I don't know about that. Yeah, I feel like this one... Oh, come on, Noz. No, you gotta send the bills back. Stop chasing this. Stop. Go back. Please. Noz. Oh, it started out so well, and then it went so poorly. And then, like, really, Celt monks versus students? This is not ideal. Oh! Okay, she manages to trade her life for one of theirs. Oh no, and then 2 more injured villagers down on the deer. Oh! Unfortunate. Chris doing the smart thing, just walling off the knights to make sure they don't sneak in, get to his pond, for instance, or go attack Soxy on the other side. Soxy is up to Castle Age, a little bit slower than Mr. Steak. Let's just take a quick look at the resources. Is Steak fast imping? It does not look like a fast imp is on the cards. It looks like probably just going to be some booms. Oh, but Soxy's lost even more... No, sorry, Noz lost even more vills. 11 to 21 KD. Oh, all the injured villagers are just fodder for these knights to run in and kill. Darvoy and Noz are still Dark Age. I think they're going to be Dark Age for the rest of the game at this point. Oh no, Noz is losing more vills. I think they just committed too hard. Too hard to the Vil fight. And I guess Boo probably did the smarter thing. Adding the stable on the way up, making 1 or 2 scouts, 1 or 2 knights. Absolutely dominated. Right? Look, the KD is 12 to 0 from a couple of scouts and knights. I hope there's not a hole over here or something. There's not. But I think that, yeah, the Dark Age walls... Oh, there's even 2 villages inside. Oh, no. Oh, no, this is not good. Is he going to wall... It looks like Darvoy is trying to wall in Noz. House. House. Another wall. Oh, that's not where you need to build it. 2 more vills down for Noz. Why is Boo Pocket? I thought he was good with vil fights. I don't know, maybe he just doesn't enjoy them. Seems pretty reasonable to me. Soxy, instantly dropping a TC. Instantly going for 2 TCs. He's a little bit behind Red, which does make sense seeing as he has a fish boom going. Chris, though, only on the 1 dock. I don't really agree with this. And making farms. I would much prefer it if he went for the traditional multi-dock boom. He has perfect personality, you can build fights. You mean perfect personality being annoying as shit? Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, that's a palisade wall there that might go down pretty quickly. I think Chris just needs to commit to a layer of stone walls at this point, because oh no, Chris, oh no, it's almost dead. Yes, whoa, oh, just in the nick of time. And while this is going on, Darvoy is in the feudal age, and he's up to castle age as well. Whereas Noz is just forever dark age at this point. He's got he's got no food in the bank. He's got 4 bills queued up. He can never stonewall. I'm surprised that Darvoy's not going for an even, more forward stonewall at this point. We see the push here. We've got 3 monks, a couple of spears, and 2 scorpions. The villager does go down. Chris should be happily defended right here. He's got almost a 20 bill lead against Boo. The conversions, he gets 2 conversions. The monk's even getting some healing in right here. He does clean this up quite nicely, but at what cost? Noz is 30 vills. Orange is also 30 vills, but Orange is more than halfway castle. And Noz is forever Dark Age. It is a sad time to be alive. And we see here the fish boom going on strongly for Mr. Steak. Nobody's really anywhere near Imperial Age. I guess King Boo's not too far away, but now he's going to add a 4 TC. Definitely something that I agree with. Whew. All the messy shenanigans are over now. We can breathe. We can relax. And figure out what's going to happen next. Oh, smart. Noz is worried about a sneaky villager being stuck back here somewhere. He's going to go check that out. I do agree with that. I think that's a good idea. We see here, Darvoy's putting more layers of wall. Chris is trying to bash through. I guess Noz can forward stonewall once he eventually makes it to feudal age. If Aussies lose this one, will we see Robo step in for next game? Unfortunately, I'm not in the team. The rules were 6 players per team, and we already had 6 interested players. So I did, I guess, volunteer to step out to allow everybody else to play, knowing that I was, well, not knowing, but I was planning on casting some more Aussie events in the future. So it kind of worked out quite nicely for me. And funnily enough, we're not that far behind in vills, if we're being honest. The big issue is just that Orange is going to be an active part of this game significantly. Oh, don't attack around your mangonels. That's definitely not the correct play. Noz could just delete all of his walls right here to try to help the knights and pikemen push forwards. You can technically play from someone's count. I mean, I could technically cheat. Yes. I guess I could. Chris now, if this pike bush is going, but we see red and purple both up to Imperial Age. Chris is... He's not too far away. Neither is... I was about to say Noz isn't that far away from going in, but he's not that far away from clean Castle Age. Soxy, though. Soxy's being a greedy little boy. He's going for 5 TC boom as flank Ethiopians versus Bohemians. I don't think that is the correct call. And while Chris is dealing quite a bit of damage to Orange, you're killing a guy who's already dead. It just does not seem that relevant to me. Oh, even like converting back that knight. I feel like Chris has just committed a little bit too much to this army, and then obviously Noz committed far too much to the Vil fighting. If he'd stopped at the point when he was like 9-6 KD, I think it would have been great. It's just it went a little bit beyond that, unfortunately. Siege Workshop is going to go down. The monks are trying to convert some of the knights. He does get one, but Orange is available trying to convert them back, and he does. We're just seeing some clownery going on down here. But on the top side, it looks like Yeah, we're just going to see an Onager cut, plus hand cannons, bombard cannons, and Cavalier, it seems. And they're just going to roll in through Soxy's base and just absolutely clean him up, it seems. Soxy is on the way up to Imperial Age now, but he's 3 minutes behind at this point. Hub's trade is going to be crazy inefficient with those woodlines. I don't think it's that bad. You build your markets here. You build your other market, you know, here-ish for now, and then eventually you cut through here and you expand to this edge. Oh, shit, you can actually get straight there. I don't think your first market should be there, 100%. The first market should be like where this relic is, and you just short trade for a while until you can onager it out. But, I don't think this game is going to make it to trade, if I'm being honest. You see, like, Soxy's thinking, oh, there's going to be bomber cannons pushing through here, let's start walling. Oh wait, where's the onager? Why aren't you researching onager? Oh, and then Chris is thinking of pushing on this side? Oof. Yeah, no, that's not the correct play, I don't think. Well, I can understand it from Chris's perspective. Just keep pushing this way and just roll into Purple's eco. But we see the Onager, we see the Cavalier tech coming in, we see the armor upgrades coming in. They're going to be Hoofniece and hand cannons and Cavalier on the side in very, very short order. He's going to have Onager before Soxy's in Imperial Age. And they're just going to Onager cut straight through this wood line. What does Soxy see, though? Yeah, like he 100% needs an outpost over here, and they need to just be he needs to be walling further back, behind these wood lines to try to slow down an Onager cut. Woad raids can be nice to delay. I mean, I think Chris is just going to play Helb Onager. Seems to be the play. Helb Onager and then push through into King Boo. Yep, we do see Helbs, and we're seeing Helbs on this side as well. Soxy's doing Onager himself while getting chemistry. Makes a lot of sense. Oh, and the Onager cut is happening down here. And they should be... if Soxy's paying attention, he should see this. This should be visible. Wait, what the fuck? What's the issue, Adam? GB losing BF? I don't know about that. I'm not sure if they're losing it. I would love it if Soxy did a wall at the back. Or like a gate here, for instance, to make sure that a Paladin raid can't dive into Chris's eco. Because I think that is the main loss condition. Right here, is if a big raid just rolls through here and gets into Chris. Because Chris's push should be somewhat unstoppable at this point. It's just... is he going to be able to do his big unstoppable push? Yeah, and there's the Onager cut. Oh, Soxy's being a bit of a god here. Look at these walls. Can he kill... no, he's not going to be able to kill that, though. But he's doing his best to wall this out while he masses the pikes that he needs. The pikemen are trying to fight hand cannons, which is definitely not ideal. But he's got siege engineers. He's got... where did his Onager tech go? I thought I saw Soxy doing Onager. Huh. Did he cancel it? He's just going for bomber cannons and helbs. I guess that makes a lot more sense. Bomber cannons and probably try to get torsion engines. Should be pretty solid. But now Darvoy is dead. He has managed to get some villagers out, though. So he has got the ability to reboom. And now all of this stone and gold is free to be taken. Is this Fox clan the same as the one that Sebastian is part of? Yes, it is. They, because they've got a couple of teams, almost. They're organizing some different level show matches, essentially. Show match tournaments would be, I guess, the way to word it. We don't see Paladin. Okay, we're switching into champions, which makes a lot of sense against the Celts on this side. And they've still got a big bunch of Cavalier to potentially just dive through Soxy's base. And the question is, how many siege workshops does Soxy have? He's only got 3 there. He needs to start massing some siege workshops at the back so that he can try to get some bomber cannons. Is it just me, or are we hearing double music? I don't believe so. But, that shouldn't be what's happening, but it could be happening. It's definitely not intended. Okay, yep. Now the longswords have been seen. Chris has to back up a little bit. He's making some scorpions. He's making heavy scorpions indeed. Going to counter these longswords quite nicely. Sound is okay for everybody else? Okay, excellent. Yeah, these Hoofneys are just an absolute pain in the ass. Soxy needs to get torsion engines. The problem is that he doesn't have a castle anymore. Because he's built some at the front and they've just been absolutely destroyed at the front. And then the Helbs versus the hand cannons are definitely not great. But then the issue is he needs the Helbs to try to defend from the Cavaliers. Soxy is just not looking great, to be honest. All of Chris's army has been cleaned up by the longsword switch from Mr. Boo. The Rams and heavy Scorpions and Orange is just heavy siege push starting to roll forwards, but he hasn't got any army to actually protect the siege. So if Boo just swings, 10 Cavalier, he's just going to absolutely destroy this army here. Let me just check real quick. He does have the extra HP for the Celts. Come on, Steak, you can push faster than this. Boo going swords instead of Teutonic Knights, I mean... He's got to be fast, that's why. Hoofney's just such a cheat unit. And then losing both of these golds is going to be absolutely killer for Soxy. Yeah, and then now the Cavalier just going to start to dive past. And like as I was saying earlier, he needs to wall this to stop the raids going into Chris's base. I think that that if they just decide to just dive straight past, ignore Soxy completely. I mean, he is just wandering into these helms though, which is definitely not ideal. But yeah, it looks like he's just right-clicked into the back of Chris's base. And the full siege push, I'm not sure if Chris is memeing, to be honest. But the siege rams and the trebuchet, it looks like they're going to take down this castle, and then just full heavy scorpions versus a bunch of champions. Oh, and then he doesn't get that wall up yet. I can just imagine Chris saying, what the fuck, what is this doing in my base? And then now the Scorpions are just getting absolutely shredded as soon as a couple of the champions get up close and personal. Get inside the minimum range of the Scorpions. Heavy Scorps are no joke. I mean, they're definitely a decent unit, but Chris's eco is just going to get absolutely gutted right here, and he hasn't really used the pond at all. King Boo's running around the pond. He's thinking, oh, I can kill so many fish traps, and then there's just absolutely nothing there. We do see Noz starting to get into the game, but I don't think it's going to matter, because as soon as he gets into the game, Soxy's going to be taken out of the game. And there's still a ton of gold in his base. 4,500 gold ready to be taken. And Boo, by the way, does have decent number of trade carts already. 16 trade carts, 9 for red. Oh, and then the Cavaliers are trying to get back over here and try to kill as many of Soxy's villas as they run away. Noz is back. He's coming forwards with stables and castles, but the problem is going to be Chris's base. Chris is going to die in, approximately 30 seconds. They don't have an answer for Bohemians right now. 100% true. Ethiopians was really the primary counter that they had with torsion engine bombard cannons. Okay, we're starting to see Woad switch coming out from Chris. Big shots there on those champions. Oh, absolutely massive. I'm not sure why Boo is going for onagers and not bombard cannons, if I'm being honest. Boo needs the bombard cannons. Yeah, definitely. That's what I said. Flattening some of his own champions. But now the hand cannons are here. Soxy's got absolutely nothing, and the GG is being called. That was a messy as fuck game. I want to jump back to about here. We've got the Messyville fights going on. North is at a positive KD. We'll speed through this a little bit. Pub is cooking. You don't cook at a pub. You go to a pub to drink. Get on the right page, superhero. Come on, man. But yeah, like, at this stage, Nods is in a brilliant position. I feel like he just needed to commit to any sort of walls. Like, yeah, right now, just finish these walls, keep the villagers out, and then everything would have been brilliant on this side. Will they choose to stubborn with the build fights? 100% yes. And I think you could argue that there was a misplay from Chris. Because we see that King Boo has gone up with a barracks, stable, and a blacksmith. So he ends up making a couple of feudal scouts, and then some early knights as well, and then it just absolutely destroys Boo. Oh, just absolutely destroys Noz, I should say. Not stubborn enough, they gave up after 30 minutes. I mean, I guess. I mean, like, even now, Noz is still at a positive KD. But then as soon as the first feudal age scout comes in, everything goes to shit. This villager gets walled in and dies. These villagers, like, Chris is trying to do a siege workshop, but there's nothing to support it, right? There's no stable to make any army, there's no monastery, there's no barracks to make pikemen. And then King Boo's KD just absolutely skyrockets at this point once these knights start getting in. You see, look, there's some injured villagers over here taking deer. Destroyed. There's a ton of injured villagers up here on the berries. Destroyed. King Boo all of a sudden has an 11-0 KD, and Noz is just completely dead. It's just committing too much to the fight. Oh, I need to go send the lobby code. Let me just go do that. Oof. So I assume that we're going to go see Chaos Pit now. How did Darvoy die from this position? Chris ends up making a lot of Castle Age Siege and Monks. Yeah, Boo just stops helping and just booms, and then they go and they kill Soxy. The civs that were used for BF. We had Spanish, we had Ethiopians, and we had Celts. Whereas over here we had Chusans, we had Bohemians, and Japanese. Yeah, Chris went to Imp and killed the guy that was already dead. Whereas Boo and Steak went to Imp and killed the strong flank. I think it would be fair to say that Soxy overboomed a little bit, going for 5 TCs as flank when your opponent has a pond. I think that's a little bit of a throw. Maybe he was thinking he needs extra TCs to make up for the eco difference, but the pond should just make them so much faster that I feel like you want to stay a little bit lower eco just so that you can match their upgrade timings and have an actual decent chance at fighting off their army. Even if you have slightly less, try to take a better fight, get good bomber cannon shots, or good onager shots, something along those lines. Oh well, let me go back to Liquipedia. I'm gonna go edit the page. Black Forest. And then they're not joining the lobby. Robo streams? Hell yeah. Anything that has Australian/New Zealand players involved is what we're streaming here. So we had Noz as the Spanish, Celts and Eth, and then Noz was against Darvoy, King Boo, and Steak. And the Japanese, Chudens, and Bohemians. What's the Civ draft rule for Chinese and Tatars? So, the last 2 Civs that you pick for either team, you then give them to your opposing team. So they're like a reverse pick almost, where you're picking civs for the enemy team. It's definitely displayed a little bit funny. You could sort of skip the whole pick and then give away section if you wanted to. But I guess there is some positions where you might want to give away a different civ depending on what they've given you, for instance. Like, let's say that they gave us Vikings. Maybe we would want to give them Incas instead of Sicilians, for whatever reason, right? I guess it gives you a little bit of flexibility in maybe giving away one of your bottom 3 instead of bottom 2. But essentially it means that you have 2 in quotation marks, shit civs that you need to use at some point in the best of five. Assuming that it goes to all 5 games. You could potentially try to win 3-0 or 3-1 and just not use the 2 shitty civs, but that seems quite risky in my opinion. Liquipedia has Black Forest as one of the maps. And we just played Black Forest, so I'm not really sure what the issue is, Nillis. If you mean Rage Forest is just a version of Black Forest. It's a more fair version. The reverse pick icon is really weird. It's supposed to be a scout stealing a boar, because what they've done is they've used the steal system to exchange the civs. So essentially, they've stolen Vikings and Sicilians away from us. So that's why it has the scout stealing a boar, is what the symbology is supposed to represent. Oh no, the 2 is supposed to represent the numbers for the civ drafting. Usually I would have the map draft above it, but because this tournament doesn't have an actual captain's mode map draft, I can't have the numbers matching on top of the maps that have been played. Instead, I have to make do with my manual attempts. Let me remember to leave the game so that I can join in the next one once it starts. It seems like the lobby that was hosted has been cancelled. Potentially they chose the wrong server, or maybe King Boo is stepping down. Not quite sure what the go is. No, King Boo's back. I think they just chose the wrong server. That would make sense. Easy thing to forget sometimes. And yet we are going to go into Chaos Pit for game number 3. Yeah, let me put the 1 next to Arabia. Maybe that makes it a bit more clear. Does that make sense? So then we've got the 1, we've got the 2, the 3, and then Arena and Nomad would be 4 and 5 in some order, depending on if we make it there and what order people choose to use it on. Let's see, for Chaos Pit, what would they use? Honestly, not many of these civs really stand out to me as being great for Chaos Pit. I guess Khmer is a really good pocket. I'd probably lock that one in. And then your flanks are probably Bengalis, Vikings, or Sicilians. Yeah. The problem with that is, like, I can't see Vikings or Sicilians really being played on any of the other maps. I guess Vikings are a very slight possibility for Nomad, for the cheaper docks. I guess Sicilians are maybe okay if you did Horse Collar, but you're probably not going to do Horse Collar I guess maybe you do Horse Collar on Chaos Pit, and then they become a decent flank. And then I guess Vikings is just you're forced to use as the other flank. But then that's a bit... That seems like a little bit of a throw. I don't think you really stand a chance on Chaos Pit if your civs are Khmer, Vikings, and Sicilians. How else would you make it work? I feel like Bengalis should be a lock for Arena. I'd say Cubans and Malay are also probably locks. They seem like just the best civs. What does the board do you assign? That's when you essentially steal a civ, and in this case it's a reverse steal, where you give 2 of your civs over to the other team. And yet we do see Khmer Sicilians and the Khmer Sicilians and Vikings. Let's get into Capture Age. And we're on Chaos Pit right now. They lost with that civ. No, that's the cross, not the boar stealing a, not the scout stealing a boar. I mean, yeah, the draft that they have and the maps that are being played, they're sort of forced to use their civs that way. It just feels nasty. Right, we've got Stake here with the Vikings, King Boo as the Khmer, and then Dave Hun as the Sicilians. Sicilians and Vikings are just not that great flank civs these days. On the other side, we have Soxy with the Incas. Just cheaper food units when you're making a lot of trash is kind of insane. And then honestly, the extra sheep is pretty useful as well for the team. You know, it's not a bad bonus. Then we have Poles in the pocket position. Full walks, always nice. And then just mass scouts. And then we have Noz here playing as the Lithuanians on the flank. I would almost have expected Poles and Lithuanians to switch positions. Because Poles do have ARBs. Which is a... Oh, we are seeing some Vil Lame shenanigans going on here. But Soxy, my man, where's your scout? You can't just send the villager by himself, or by herself in this situation. Look at that micro there from Dave. Okay, well, I guess he is actually going to... Well, she, I should say, is going to make it home. He does take a little bit of damage there, unnecessarily, on the eagle. The villager could wall in the other berries on the front side, to be honest. It's not fully walled in, it's only half walled in. Soxy's just going to commit? It seems like it. On the other side, Noz, as Lithuanians would make a lot of sense if you're wanting to go for lames. With the 100 extra starting food. Definitely make it a lot easier to commit to the lane without idling a lot of your eco. He doesn't even need to fully wall these, to be honest. He just needs to tap them a little bit to try to prevent the mill comfortably going up. But it seems like he's not really committing to the all-in lames at this stage of the game. Then over on this side, Noz is getting some comfortable little walls up from the edge of the map towards his TC. Keeping his lumber camp nice and snug and safe, and then securing his 2 berries and his stones. It looks like Soxy just did not have enough of the Vil fighting in the previous game, and he wants to get into it again. And it looks like, yeah, Dave was almost about to get housed, so he's had to rush up a house there. The lame already having a little bit of an impact, but he's taken so much damage on his eagle already. I would almost say, I guess, you know, just tap these walls a little bit and then go home and heal your eagle in the TC so that it's more useful for later. I like the walls on the forward berries. It's definitely going to hurt Dave's eco in early feudal age. The issue is going to be, can Soxy match his uptime? Alright, we're going to skip and look at the food in the bank. Dave... I mean, okay, I guess he doesn't have a ton of food in the bank, so it's all fair at this stage. And his berry bills are going to be a bit messy because of the, yeah, like this lady here can't get involved. The walls are getting in the way. Bash down this one and then they can get involved, though. We see Loom coming in, though, for both Steak and Boo. Looks like they're going for 19 pop each. Pretty respectable uptimes. We see the same for Mr. Noz and Mr. Chris. So we're going to see pretty standard gameplay on this side. We expect both the pockets to be making scouts, and the flanks to be doing some spear skirm combination, most likely. Like one range skirms with fletching, and then you add in some spears to make sure that you don't just get jumped by enemy scouts. We see here second lumber camp coming up from Noz, closer to his base. I do kind of like this idea, just to get extra wood income a little bit faster instead of having to walk all the way out to the outside. Steak, though, his lumber camp is really, really bad for chopping out to the outside ring where most of the stone and the gold and the relics are. Because it's on the diagonal edge, he has to chop through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trees to get out. Whereas Noz only has to go through 3 trees, and you see that he's already, 1 tree down, 2 well on the way. See, the same thing over on this side. Like, everybody else is chopping straight edges, except for Mr. Steak, so he's not going to get out first. Hopefully, Noz is able to utilize his faster chop out and get a villager around here. Maybe try to get a forward wall, potentially. Maybe along, like, these wood lines here. Take this corner. And then, having this corner, and then Soxy maybe contesting this corner. You got a pretty good position to get into the late game. We see Dave going hard on stone. Is he just going to go for a donjon rush? I guess donjons are probably a little bit tricky to deal with, seeing as they are like a better version of a tower. Extra HP and extra arrows and whatnot. We see over here, I don't like that archery range position from Noz. I prefer it to be next to the arch, in front of the TC over here and build a palisade wall there. It's just a little bit exposed, would be my word for it. Over here, the Viking player is just going straight spears, it seems. Whereas Noz is going for spears and skirms. Chris, of course, is going for scouts. No spears for him. And then Boo going for his stable. It's a little bit delayed, but it is up now. He's a scout behind already, though. But then the Khmer Eco should be pretty insane through mid-feudal age with their faster gathering farmers. We see the extra HP on the Viking Spearmen is actually quite significant. How much extra HP do they have? They have 54 HP versus 45. I mean, that's essentially the Frank bonus, just for, Spearmen instead of Scouts. That's quite significant. That's not really something that I would have, thought about previously. We see here Soxy's crushing at the same time as he's being donjon rushed. I don't know if that counter tower... Yeah, that counter tower is going to struggle mighty hard. He does have a couple of spears and the eagle forwards right now. It looks like it's just going to be messy games on the side. Oh, and he's just making spearmen out of the donjon, not even needing the barracks. Sick plays on this side. Honestly, potentially a little bit of a mistake on our part by providing them with Sicilians and Vikings. 2 civs that actually have reasonably useful bonuses for Chaos Pit that I didn't really think about, to be honest. It's not the sort of thing that I would have had in my brain previously. This Soxy's just microing. He's putting the injured villagers inside. Oh, he does lose that villager, though. I was about to say that he's doing a brilliant job jumping in and out the injured versus full HP villagers. But here comes Boo's scouts. Where are Chris's scouts? He's going for a counterattack on Boo's side. Oh, this is rough for Soxy. Rough for Soxy indeed. Soxy hasn't made a villager for a while. Back to the idle TC time. He's got almost a minute of idle time because he doesn't have either of his berries right now. Oh, and he's just lost a villager to the TC. Oh, that is unfortunate. He does bash down the scout, but his eco KD is poor right now. It's 0 to 4. And then at this point in time, Chris's scouts haven't achieved anything whatsoever. I mean, I guess they killed this one villager here at the wall, potentially, and that's about it. On the outside, Noz has almost chopped through. Same deal with Orange, same with Soxy, same with Boo. All of the straight line lumberjacks are almost out. Red is the furthest away. He still has to chop through at least 2 more trees. And we see here, Dave has just swung around with a bunch of his villagers, bashing down both of Soxy's tower at the same time. And then now Soxy's villagers are just sitting underneath the TC. Oh, this is, Soxy's not having a great game. Yeah, both of these villagers are going to die as well, because Boo has some scouts over here to help out. Oh, but saying that, Chris has managed to get into Steak's wood line. Oh, that's nasty. That's 2 vills going down right there. We also see a tower coming forward from Noz. Spears and skirms in this position to push through. Denying this lumber camp is going to be quite impactful on Steak's eco in the long run. The issue is that while this is going on, Soxy Soxy is dying, unfortunately. I don't know where Boo's scouts have gone. Oh, they're swinging across the map right here. Oh, and we're sending the vills. We're getting into a big fight here. We've got spears and skirms. If Stake is on point, his villagers need to target these spearmen, as many as possible, kill them all, and then, oops, just as Boo's scouts arrive, all of the spearmen are dead, and then the scouts can happily clean up the skirms and villagers. Yes, Dave is out, as is Noz. Oh, we've got a villager coming forward. He's even going to wall behind this wood line. I don't think that's necessary. Because you're sort of assuming that this tower is going to go up and, you know, hopefully stay up for a little while. So I do not think that these walls here are at all necessary. I would much rather try to go for a late game wall and preventing any sneaky scout or night raids coming around the outside. I'm not a massive fan of these folwark farms from Chris, if I'm being honest. Only 8 of his farms are around 2 folwarks, and he's got a bunch around his TC as well. And we see that Soxy is actually just continuing on the Vilbash route. But his Eco KD is 2 to 9, he has 4 minutes of idle TC time, and he's only on 19 villages, while everybody else is on, you know, mid-30s. We see that Noz is continuing to try to make some sort of a play happen here against Stake. But I think his push is going to stall out. I would suggest that the villagers just jump out of the tower, wall it in, go home, probably just go up to Castle Age. Would be the situation. Oh boy. Those scouts didn't actually notice that villager. Very, very lucky for Noz. But this is why I was wanting to see him just prioritize this wall on the outside. You wall across there, wall across here, and then another couple tiles there, and then you're absolutely safe here. Whereas now, these 7 scouts, these villagers are all just sitting here waiting to die, and then they can run through this wood line into the back of his eco. They can come up this way, and they can hit Chris. Okay, well now he knows. He's lost a villager. Yep. Run. Run away. Run away. And then he also needs to just yell at Chris, I think, that he has to get walls up ASAP. We see here that Soxy's also getting out here. Chris has killed a lot of vills, it seems. Oh, yes, indeed he has. Where? Oh, boy. It looks like Dave has taken a sausage from Chris, and we see that the trush is continuing from Soxy. Somehow he's gotten... Oh, yeah. I was going to say somehow it's gotten behind the stone walls, but it's just completely open here. And we see that Chris is on the way up to Castle Age right now. The question is, how much damage is he going to take from these scouts? He's got 7 scouts. They've got Bloodlines, Armor, and Attack versus 4 Spears. I think the scouts might win this, if they're able to just fight the spears 2 at a time. Young Soxy, aka the GOAT, coming back on Bills at least. He's 26 versus 29. He's not that far behind anymore, that's true. Now, the spears do get 1 scout for free, but now they're just going to keep on running around, right? Oh. Oh, no, he tried. He tried. But then, like, Soxy's woodline over here is just completely open and vulnerable. This is why Hail Spit strats, you wall the outside. Oh, Noz was trying to be a bit of a memer and try to wall in King Boo here, it seems. Definitely not the correct play, in my opinion. And oh boy, Soxy's losing even more vills. But we do see Noz also on the way up to Castle Age. Stake, not too far away from clicking up, though. Where is Noz's army at the moment? Okay. He's got just an army of spearmen just charging around the outside. The scouts from King Boo are floating around once again. Poking and prodding, trying to find somewhere they can deal damage. We see a castle coming up from Chris at the back of his base. I do like this position. Secures some gold and some stone. Helps protect those villages. We see some more scouts from Boo roaming around. Hopefully this time Noz goes for the forward walls. That's what I would like to see. He has scouted the castle now. The question is, does Chris go for Schlatzer Privileges and get the night spam going? I would assume that he... Oh, never mind. I was about to say I don't think he has the eco to do it, but the tech is coming in now. Oh, it's another villager going down, trying to get these walls up. Unfortunate in the extreme. Boo is being an incredible pain in the ass with his scouts, getting a ton of damage. His eco KD isn't as impressive as Chris's, but he has also kept more of his army alive to be useful later in the game, right? He's got 6. He's got 9 scouts back behind their base, ready to become light cav with +2 armor, ready to just dive past 2 spearmen. Who cares about 2 spearmen when you've got 9 light cav? Oh, and we see here Red's madly trying to rush up these walls to stop the spear and skirm push from coming through here. Then on the outside here, we see a marker coming up for Orange. Orange is actually close to going castle. Sorry, he just needs to sell something because he's got the food to go. Soxy, on the other hand, he's only just now doing horse collar and he's got absolutely no food in the bank. So Soxy's essentially out of this game for the foreseeable future. Seems like Noz wants to do a side push with pikemen and mangoes. I'm not sure why he didn't finish his siege workshop. I guess he wants to try to build it up here instead. Oh, but here are the light cav that I was talking about previously. And Noz has just said, yo, I can't do anything. These villagers, they're all dead. And all of a sudden, King Boo's KD is much better than Chris's. And Noz now has no access to gold, so how is he going to siege push if he's got no gold? How much gold does he have in the bank? Okay, he's got... I was about to say he's got decent gold in the bank, but instead he just bought food and wood instead. So, it's not looking... Oh, and look at this from Boo. Just absolutely peak performance right there. Using the light cav to keep the gate open. The question is, where is the knight spam from Chris going to go? Not far, because they are fully walled through the middle of the map. They've got stone walls around Dave's side, house walls through the middle. Okay, but a forward castle from Noz. This is the way that they get in, it seems. Oh, it's actually open over here, by the way. Not something that I would have noticed. And we see here, Chris is just bashing away at the stable instead. I don't have time for your castle drops. I need to be active. He's going for +2 attack now. He doesn't have armor, though. He's going for attack instead of armor, which is, I think, a little strange, if I'm being honest. Oh, and now these Lycav are now harassing his food eco, which is exactly what he needs to keep spamming the knights. I think I guess the attack upgrade is going to help a little bit at taking down the stable. The castle is now built. Red is building his own TC on the outside, though. We do have the siege workshop, but as I said, he has no gold, so he can't actually make any siege weapons. I guess he now is in position to go outside again. Seems the light cav are all the way over here on the side of the map now. I like these walls from Davon, preventing any raids on his base. Now, there's just not a lot going on for the Aussie team other than Chris's night spam. And then Boo has just built some stone gates behind, but he will be able to get through in this hole where this house was. He has 19 knights on the field. Boo only has 11, so he definitely has big numbers right here. And we see that Davon is doing armor upgrade and starting to make knights of his own. But here come the Viking pikemen, which is really going to not make a difference. Well, they are going to make a difference, but they're a little bit too late to the fight. Boo's lost all of his knights just before they engage. Chris is just going to turn around. The extra attack is definitely going to help in picking off these pikemen as quickly as possible. He does lose a few, but he still has big knight numbers right now. Oh boy, some quality AoE 2 content. I mean, you missed all the Vil fighting earlier in the game, in the previous game. If you wanted quality AoE 2 content, that was what you needed. I think what Chris needs to be doing... Okay, he's adding another stable. He's going up to 4 stables right now. I think he needs to try to just prioritize raiding ecos as much as possible right now. Getting +2 armor and just killing as many of these villages as possible. Like, look at this. This is just completely over. 2 or 3 knights sneaking around this top side, getting onto this wood line. Massive damage right there. Idling some of these Commerf armors to prevent him from making more knights to fight you off would be pretty good. Potentially trying to get into the back of Red's base. Oh! How did Noz get here? He does finally have a siege workshop. The single Sicilian knight, like, I'm also here to fight, guys. Yeah, he's contributing, right? He's contributing to the team. Oh, we see a couple of crossbows coming in from Soxy. I don't hate it. You know, it's useful to help try to pick off the pikemen. He's doing his bit for the team. Oh, look at that awareness from Boo. Just jumping into the TC just before the Vils get absolutely pulverized right there. Another stable is about to be destroyed, it seems. Crossbows need to stay out of range of the TC, though. Ideally... Okay, we do see +2 armor now starting to come in, plus husbandry. Chris is in... I mean, he's in a scary position army-wise. but he's only on the 1 TC eco. And the rest of his team is also only on the 1 TC eco. So the question is, can they deal enough damage quickly enough before the booming attempts from Team Pub actually become impactful? The Vil difference is growing slowly. Yeah, you see, like, because it's very, very difficult to kill more villagers than they can make when they have, you know, 5 or 6 extra TCs than you do. Especially if you're constantly fighting underneath TCs like this. It's just very, very difficult to take great engagements. And like, Soxy's crossbows just being cut off here all by themselves. And then as soon as Chris pulls away half of his army, he's now taking an equal fight almost. With the TC fire coming in as well. He's almost playing a 1v3 at this stage. And not to, you know, trash talk Noz or anything like that, but he's really... Other than this castle, which is killing this TC slowly, he hasn't really done a lot that is impactful at this stage of the game. I mean, somehow he has a villager just chilling here. I'm not sure what he's going to do, though. Soxy's crossbows are poking around, but really they haven't done a lot. I think Chris is right to try to target King Boo. The tricky thing is having enough knights to actually be able to kill the TC, really. This villager is still just chilling here. As soon as a pikeman patrols past, though, he will get sniped away, though. Noz did finally finish the outside wall, so he's dropping his own TC. He's starting to get a little bit of eco going. We've got Soxy going for a second TC as well. I'd like to see Folwark eco from Chris back here, where it's a little bit safer. Because they're still completely open in the middle. At any moment, Boo could just send 3 or 4 knights straight across the map and start to kill villagers. Chris can take out Dave mad easy, like you said, completely free. Yes, but the issue is that Dave is like the least important player on Pub's team. So, yes, you could kill him, but it's not necessarily going to win you the game, right? Like, the Viking player is just absolutely spamming out these pikemen. Which I guess Soxy's crossbows are going to help a little bit with. Okay, but we see Chris is actually going for a big raid here. Yep, they just need to keep backing up. Just try to, honestly, snipe the pikemen instead of the knights. Kill as many of these pikemen as possible so that Chris can actually take a good fight later in the game. Oh, are they walled in there? No, come on, Chris, that's open. That has to be open at the top. What are you doing? Oh, no, there's a tree there. Oh, sheesh. Boo with the reactions. Oh, that is unfortunate. Imagine if some vills come around the backside and just stonewall them in. Oh. That would have been both hilarious and incredibly disappointing. I would have loved to see it as a viewer and a spectator of games, but as a Team Down Under cheerleader, I would have hated to see it. Now we see here, nice fight coming in, cleaning up a lot of those pikemen, but honestly, the Viking eco at this point is strong enough that, you know, he can just shit out pikemen as quickly as he possibly can, and it's not really a big issue. And we see Sicilian players actually now starting to get a decent number of knights out on the field. Enough that he's actually being incredibly useful, and it looks like Boo is potentially slacking off on army production a little bit to try to build more eco now that Orange is recovering him. The econ collected for both teams. This is the current resources, if that's what you mean. We see that Boo has a ton of food in the bank, which makes sense as Khmer. No one, though, is anywhere near clicking Imperial Age at this stage of the game. And the problem for Chris back here is that he's just trapped. Like, I think he needs to run down towards Noz's castle if he doesn't want to just lose his army at the back of their base. We do see a big raid coming in on Dave's base, though. Oh, I like to see this. This is good. Chris getting a bunch more Vil kills, but as I was saying earlier, killing Orange is almost the least important thing that you could be doing. You want to be taking Boo out of the game, I think. Because he is the one with the most eco. We do see Chris now actually starting to transition into some eco of his own. Also, Soxy's on 4 TCs out here. Noz is on 3 TCs. It seems that both Noz and Soxy are almost preparing for the late game and letting Chris do the majority of their work at this point, and then they try to take over later on. The thing is that their Vil counts are still lower than all of the players on Team Pub. castle out here to secure the eco. I really don't mind it. I guess Nods being Lithuanians also needs to start picking up relics at some point. Because he's got one back here. Potentially two, potentially three relics that he can comfortably take. One, two, three, and then there's three more relics on the top side that he can't really get to. So he's just gonna be need to be content with three relics from the Lithuanians. Oh no, never mind. He's going for a siege push on the top side. Siege, monks, and pikes. Nice shot there. Get some repairs in. Maybe heal that monk up as well. I'm not sure. Oh, it looks like Red's gonna go for a defensive castle over here, while Notz is actually going for an offensive castle. A 5-villager castle is a little bit questionable in my mind. In the middle of the map, Chris's army plus some supporting crossbows are continuing to push around. We do see +2 armor though coming in for Orange right now. Oh yes, we're seeing a castle for either player. Where is Noz's army going? Why are the monks back here instead of over here to support his villagers building the castle? The castle is out of range. It's unable to deny Noz's castle, but this Mangonel could quite easily get in there. Bill counts are equal now. Let's go back to the Eco KD. Oh, Chris is 70-0. His raids have been a lot more impactful than I expected. And the rest of the team is actually starting to big boom it up, really. This castle is now turning... Okay, no, the villagers are still here. They're still alive. Unfortunately, Red's castle is going to go up, and that is going to cut down... It's not going to deny the castle or kill the castle, but it's going to prevent army from just wandering past. And potentially this Mangonel... This Mangonel could deny it. Are we going to see a dark castle? Are we missing anything else on the map? Oh, no! Noz is worrying about his castle. And he's going to lose a ton of villagers while this is going on. The castle is going to go up, it seems. The monks are here to heal the villas as well. But, oh no, how many villas is he going to lose here? And we do see that Boo has now clicked up to Imperial Age. Noz is actually pretty... Yep, Noz is up to Imp as well. Not in this TC though, luckily enough. This TC here, he probably needs to build a stone gate. I wouldn't say a palisade gate is going to really work out there, to be honest. But he does have a nice position to push forwards from. It's just a very, very cramped position. Like, honestly, sieging down these walls so you've got a little bit more space to build some barracks or something might be a good idea. And we see here, Boo is trying to get some counter raids on Chris's eco, but Chris does have a shit ton of knights, which you would expect from the Poles. Honestly, I think that Team Down Under needs to stonewall the middle of the map. They need to take a leaf out of their book, full wall the middle so that they can't be raided. Soxy probably needs to try to get a wall out here so that they control all three corners and pub team cannot start trading. And then they should be in a decent position going into Imperial Age. We do see that Orange is very, very close to clicking Imp. Red is not, though. And honestly, what is Red going to actually go Imp for? He can't get Halbs. So his Castle Age Pikemen are essentially almost the same as Imperial Age Pikemen. Oh, it's not the end of the one. We just see... Ooh! Forward Castle coming from Soxy. The problem is, he's nowhere near going Imp himself. A Sicilian counter castle is going to happen, and even if it did go up, he's going to trip it down pretty quickly once he makes it to Imp. Definitely not the best fight that Boo has ever made. But oh boy, there's even more knights coming out from Dave. Yep, Soxy's like, nope, we're bailing. We're bailing. That's a Sicilian castle. That's going up. If Blue drops a Treb, Red could be burnt toast. Oh no, Red's actually up to Imp as well. He must have done some market shenanigans that I didn't notice to get up. Or just the Viking eco just kicked in all of a sudden. We see Noz getting another TC up. He doesn't have any stone walls on this top side. I guess he does have the walls further back, but he's soon going to chop through this. And he does have a decent amount of his eco outside of those walls. So potentially Boo could just dive back this way with these soon-to-be Cavalier army. And then Orange, it looks like, is preparing a push on the outside. You know, I was saying that Soxy needs to secure this corner. Dave is doing the thing, and he is securing that corner instead for his team. And it looks like Chris was trying to mine this gold as well, and that's just been absolutely denied by some quick gates. In the middle of the map, Soxy's now instead building his castle over here on purple side. Purple, he has a castle already. He can make some trebs. We do have a lot of Inca pikemen, though. And we're going to see here trebs behind this castle, plus Imperial Age Lithuanian monks seems to be the play for Mr. Noz. And Chris is just diving into the eco once again. Trying to get some walls up to defend, but he could potentially run around this way, trying to hit Boo's eco. I think that is the best place to go, if possible. As once again, Boo is the quotation marks, the scary player. I say that, but actually Orange is starting to look like a scary player himself. He's in Imp, he's getting plus 4 armor, he's getting Cavalier. He's going to have Cavalier that take less army damage, less bonus damage from the many, many halberdiers that both Soxy and Noz are making at the moment. We do see the Trebs are starting to come out, trying to bash through Red's base, or Red's castles. There's a solid forward position here. We've got Rams, it seems, coming out from Soxy. I guess he recognizes that this castle's probably not going to stand for very long, since there are already Trebs on. Oh boy, these knights. Remember what I was saying about stonewalling the middle of the map? All of these knights have just dived into Chris's eco. Chris is on the way up to Imp, but now he needs to just full swing all of his army backwards, it seems, to try to defend this and stop losing too many villagers. While that's going on, this side we've got 2 castles producing Trebs versus only a single one. Noz, he's not even using his castle at the moment. Definitely not ideal. He needs to get that trebuchet involved. But oh, Chris is going to lose so much eco. So many of his farmers are just not working at the moment, which is going to hamper his army production in this key time as he hits Imperial Age. While this is going on, Orange continues to try to get raids on that side. We see Hussar coming in from King Boo. He recognizes there's not a ton of gold on the map. He needs just food army right now. The army numbers are very nice. It's definitely true. But 66 of them are Helbs just chilling here in the middle of the map. But I guess this is just going to be a big Capran push? No, it's going to be a Siege Ram. Siege Ram and Helb push. This is going to be pretty dicey, to be honest. We do see one Treb go down, but the first castle is dead. Red does have... Oh, another castle goes down. What are these? Are these sniper Trebs? What in the world is that? Yeah, we see some monks with conversions and a couple of Helbs, but Noz really doesn't have a very large amount of eco. Or army, I should say. He's got Helbs coming in from 2 barracks all the way back there. Definitely not ideal. And I'm pretty sure that Viking pikemen will do better than Helbs. They've got the same attack upgrades, and then they've just got more HP at the moment. Oh, and Noz just losing all of his Trebs. Red's Trebs are just absolute bloody snipers, and we see more Cavalier raids coming in once again. We've got 50 extra army, which is nice, but we're 60 vills behind. The question is the Helb Ram push through the middle of King's Boo's base from Soxy going to be enough? That is really the only question at this stage. There's a couple more Cavalier back here trying to get raids in. Yeah, they just continue to stream through the middle of the map, while Soxy is trying to get the big choo-choo train going. I'd love it if some of these Helbs were garrisoned in the Rams, so they don't get killed by random castle fire, for instance, and you just ungarrison them as and when you need them. But in this far left corner, it seems that Noz may have memed a little bit too hard, trying to go for too many monks and not enough actual real army at this moment. Just getting overwhelmed by mass pikemen and a ton of trebuchets. This is also one of his relics. He almost needs to pick this up and take it home. And the ram push is continuing to push, but the castle fire is useful. We've got pikemen coming in from Mr. Steak, and the Helbs are just not in position to protect these rams. This is why you want to try to keep your Helbs in the rams if possible, so that you can ungarrison them to defend in the correct time. And oh boy, it seems that we had a First Crusade tech coming in from Daypon. We've got the elite sergeants coming out of the TCs, charging forwards, absolutely going to destroy these halberdiers. The castle may potentially fall. It looks like the castle will die. And we do see more Cavaliers starting to stream forwards from Mr. Chris. He's also raiding on the far right-hand side. How? Oh, he's got so much army here. Look at this. He's got 30 bloody knights stuck behind these walls doing nothing right now. Imagine how much more useful that would be in the middle of the map. And it seems that we've just got a full sergeant switch going on from Dave. Which honestly is pretty effective when you're considering most of the units they're fighting are halberdiers, and then there's also going to be Cavalier, having so much melee armor. 7 melee armor, absolutely insane through unit at this stage in the game. And it looks like Noz is just starting to die on the top side. He's starting to switch into hand cannons, which is a decent choice against Vikings, but the Zerk switch is coming in. We've got Elite Zerk on the way. They got cheaper the other day too. That is definitely true. They're, I think, 10 food cheaper now. Oh, and as soon as Chris's cav leaves, Orange instantly sends one Cavalier through the gates. Oh, that's frustrating. Soxy's wanting to get Onager to cut through here and push towards his top side. Where are the big knights? Mass knights from Chris right here in the middle. It'll be a Sergeant plus Helm mix. Yep, that's exactly what we're seeing right here. Sergeant and Helms. We've got Vikings with Pikemen and Berserks, and then Cavaliers and Hussar from Khmer. Forward buildings. Oh, look at the donjons just charging forwards right here. A couple of free trebuchets if they want them, but oh, look at this. Red with the... That castle is on top of a farm. You can't build that there, sir. This is real estate. We're providing food for our community. You can't just build on top of it. That's illegal. Oh boy, we're seeing elite battle elephants being taxed. Boo. You greedy, greedy man. I mean, I guess he probably has the eco for it. I just don't see how this is really going to be stopped at this stage. I just can't believe it's being built on top of a farm. Absolutely cheating. I call map hacks. I would like to claim this map as a win for Team Australia. Boo, greedy? I know, right? That doesn't sound like him at all. But it does look like the fate is on the wall for us. Noz, once again, just doesn't... There's just so little army on the field. We're 60, 70 army behind at this point, and we're also 50, 60 bills behind. Noz doesn't have relics for Lithuanians, which definitely hurts. We're seeing arrow slits coming in as well. This donjon push is going to be pretty unstoppable, to be honest. Just Helms plus Elephants versus Helms plus Polish Cavalier. Oh, and while this is going on, Boo is just constantly raiding because, once again, there's just no real concerted effort to wall through the middle and the back of the map. And now we see even more forward castles coming in from Stake. He's got a ton of trebs just stacked on top of one another right there. He's got a bunch of elite berserks as well coming in. Low numbers of hand cannons. Can just get easily overwhelmed by the mass army that Red has. And then the purple raids are now starting to become a little bit too much, I would say. We see trebuchets coming in on the top side. Just a bunch of them going to take down Soxy's castle. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be a 3-0 for Pub. I played this incredibly well. The Arabia game was just absolutely insane. Honestly, one of the best Arabia games that I've seen in a long time. But, one single bomber cannon. But there's two random berserks there that can't even let it get out. Yeah. Oh, I'm seeing Elite O-Book. I'm seeing the armor upgrades coming in as well from Chris. But he's only got one castle. He's got, you know, soon to be 2 castles, and O-Books versus Elephants doesn't seem like a very great idea to me. Any idea why Dave has 20 plus 7 helps? I think that helbs that come out of the donjons versus helbs that have come out of barracks are counted as separate units for capture age. Is, I believe, the way that that works. I think you'll see the same thing for other units that you can make out of 2 buildings. For instance, Tarkans. Or Huskars, potentially. I think they're the other 2 units where that might happen. And I guess technically... No, yeah, that's the only one. Helb's come out of Donjon since when? 6 months, maybe? There was a patch where you could start to make spearmen out of donjons. And also the donjon counts as a barracks in terms of unlocking archery ranges and stables. So you could potentially play Sicilians with a instant donjon in Feudal Age instead of building a barracks, and then go into whatever you wanted to do otherwise. It's obviously a little bit suboptimal, because it means that you have to wait a minute or two to build a donjon before you can then build the stable or your archery range, so you're behind a couple of units. But if you're going to build the donjon anyway to secure a forward goal or something, then maybe it lets you save a little bit of wood by not building the barracks. Whew. That was a series. Let's just go quickly flick through the civs that we used. And Khmer, pretty sick. We had Poles. We had Lithuanians. And we had the Incas. When will next game start? That is the final game. It is a best of 5, and unfortunately we have lost 3-0. So, that is the end of the best of 5. Very unfortunate, to be honest. I feel like, especially the Arabia game, we had big chances to win that game. That just sort of got away from us there at the end.